What's up, everyone? Welcome to the WAN Show. We've got a great show lined up for you guys today. NVIDIA has quietly downgraded the hardware on the RTX 4070. And I gotta say, the timing for this is perfect. Just today, I did the final review on a video that we have coming out on NVIDIA's scummy naming tactics and their renaming of cards that are not actually the same performance. So we had to shoot a quick pickup when we saw the news for this, and that video is going to be coming out. We're going to seem like the most timely coverage of that whole thing, and it's only because NVIDIA does it so often that we could just make a video about it whenever, and probably they'd do something scummy. I'm also going to be talking about the fight that I got into during my week off here, so you can see my arm got done pretty good, and it's kind of harder for you guys to see, but this hand is quite swollen compared to, I mean, I'm sure they both look small, but this one is bigger than the other one. So yeah.
No, I could already tell.
Yeah. What else we got
Even
this
without
week,
the comparison, I saw. AMD walks back unrealistic Ryzen 9000 benchmarks, and Peloton wants to skim money from secondhand sales because apparently it wasn't already expensive enough.
Who do they think they are? The government? The show is brought to you today by JumpCloud, MSI, Moosend, and of course our chair partner, Secret Lab. Why don't we jump right into our headline topic, which is NVIDIA and shitifying their lineup. How do they think that this is acceptable?
Well, they've done it a bunch of times and got away with it every single time, so that's probably how.
Not every single time. We'll talk about that. At the very bottom of a news bulletin about game-ready drivers, NVIDIA snuck in a little sneaky announcement that they would be launching a new version of the RTX 4070 with GDDR6 memory instead of GDDR6X memory in September. This, they said, would only reduce memory bandwidth from 504 gigabytes per second to 480 gigabytes per second.
Reducing bandwidth, though.
Which NVIDIA says shouldn't impact performance. However, none of the new variants clearly indicate on the box that they are inferior to other 4070s in this small but significant, and I guarantee you, measurable way. Now, NVIDIA has done this many times in the past where they've made a small change to a product, whether it is, and sometimes it actually doesn't affect anything. Like you probably remember back in the day that you'd want to try and get like the 8800 GT with the Samsung memory instead of the SK Hynix, or you know, vice versa, or whatever, you know, whichever memory fab was making the chips that would overclock the best back then.
Absolutely.
But in terms of stock operation, they would run at exactly the same speed. It was only overclockers that were interested in these little differences. And you can totally, and miners, of course, moving sort of later on. And while there's obvious business advantages and real justifications for dual sourcing parts, I mean, Apple even has dual-sourced SoCs, for example, in their iPhones. Samsung has done it many times in their Galaxy flagships. As long as everything is up front, as long as you know what you're buying, I don't think you're going to see the same degree of outrage. But the way that NVIDIA has done this a number of times is just plain, I don't know how to describe it other than wrong. Like occasionally they do this and they compensate in other ways. Like we've seen in the past where they'll have the same model number and there'll be potentially two different dies on it, like two completely different chips on it. But what they might do is the one that has a wider memory bus, okay, it might be clocked a little bit higher. Or whatever the case may be. So there could be differences in, for example, power consumption, but not a difference in the FPS that you're going to get when you're playing, I don't know, what's that, Wu-Kang or whatever that new game that everyone's super excited about is, Wukong?
Black Myth Wukong, I think.
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong. Yeah, so you know what, right, like whatever game you're playing, you're not going to get a different frame rate. And for most desktop users, it's not going to be the end of the world if it consumes 15 or 20 more watts. This... And you know what? NVIDIA is probably right. that this, I mean, what does this work out to? So that would be 100 gigabytes a second would be 10%. So it's about a 2% or 2 to 3% difference in memory bandwidth. Realistically, are you going to notice that? Probably not. But here's the thing.
But if it's measurable, it matters.
NVIDIA would have known that when they designed the RTX 4070. They would have known the difference between GDDR6 and GDDR6X memory. So they obviously made a choice at that time to go with GDDR6X memory. And if GDDR6 has caught up to GDDR6X in terms of the transfer rates and it's good enough, then you know what? Okay, but then it has to be the same. Then bin them and run them at 24 gigabytes per second faster. Like it's so easy to poke holes in the logic. If this doesn't matter, then it wouldn't have mattered then. And if it does matter, then you need to clearly label this. And the thing is that there's ample precedent for NVIDIA labeling, especially their partners labeling, different memory versions of cards. Like you probably remember this, like way back in the day when you'd be able to buy the same GPU, but with like desktop DDR2 instead of GDDR, because it was super cheap.
Yep.
Now, NVIDIA's justification for this is that the GDDR6 version will improve supply and availability, which is potentially a reference to reports from July that a batch of Micron GDDR6X memory had failed to pass QA. But to me, this is just such a clear, cut and dried case of NVIDIA needing to differentiate these cards. I'm really annoyed. What would make you happy? Do you think this matters?
I think it matters because
Here comes the controversial take.
Yeah, Frame V. I don't think you can give someone something that is lesser than what has been not only advertised, but released to reviewers. So if people look up reviews of this thing, they will see a specific, and the amount that it's different is almost irrelevant to me because you're opening a door, right? For this to be able to happen again in the future. And then what, are you going to measure it every time? No, it's a little ridiculous. You have to say if it's okay or not okay. So I think it's not okay because this has been tested, reviewed. People are making purchasing decisions off of what is now incorrect information. There is variance in between cards in regards to overall performance. And I could see that honestly being almost more impactful than this change in some scenarios.
Yep.
But I don't
But that's
care.
The thing is they could stack.
Yeah.
You could get the worst die and you could get the lower memory.
Yes.
And all of a sudden that plus or minus a couple percent from one card to the next
bigger.
Is a little wider.
Yeah. And I don't like that. I think at the very, like if you have to make a change like this, just call it something slightly different and make it cheaper.
And the thing is that NVIDIA has shown, the fact that they're not even giving a discount.
There's no discount.
What are you doing?
Even if it's like $10.
And they've shown time and time again that they are willing to communicate differences in products. I mean, look back at the light hash rate cards, the ones that had the borked mining capabilities.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, you guys, that you're not willing to communicate about a product revision.
Yeah. And it doesn't even need to be communicated in like a bad way because it isn't a very significant difference.
Exactly.
So you don't have to call it like the bad version or whatever. And it doesn't need to be a huge price drop, but just like throw people a couple bones.
Yep.
And call it something slightly different. So there's a little bit of differentiation. It can even still be 4070.
Yeah,
4070 something.
4070 Lite, 4070.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. 4070 something. I don't have a creative name for it right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
It's not even that light.
What's their face? ATI used to use SE. And it was for special edition, obviously, but the community called it slow edition because everyone knew that usually they were downgraded in some way.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's precedent for this. There's so much precedent for this. What there isn't, I shouldn't say there isn't precedent for it. No, actually, I don't think there is a precedent for just releasing a slower card and calling it exactly the same thing.
This type of stuff has happened with like SSDs, but GPUs,
yes.
I don't think so.
I don't think this has been. So we're opening up a new box here.
Yeah, it's not good.
I'm pretty frustrated, and the only thing that makes me happy about this is the fact that it happened right on the eve of our of our video coming out about this.
That is pretty good.
Because I see people talking in the chat right now about times that NVIDIA has bamboozled them. Here, what am I looking? Yeah, Archer PL in Floatplane chat says 1063 gig was a fail and my biggest tech purchase mistake. And as we were working on this video on NVIDIA's scummy naming schemes, both the writer and I had personal stories of times when NVIDIA's crappy naming had fooled them. I've been fooled. I mean, we don't come into this hobby, we don't come into this industry knowing everything. And for me, it was when I bought my Athlon XP system way back in the early 2000s, because I was an ignorant consumer. And when you're first starting out, I feel like it's so easy for people to be gatekeepery and elitist and like, oh, you should have known better than to believe anything you read on User Benchmark. Everybody knows that, right? Like,
it's like definitely not a lot of people actually use that site.
No, people don't know, right? And the SEO.
Continuing to trash on it is cool because that'll help get the word out. But tons of people use that
But
site.
Don't attack the user. Don't attack the ignorant user who's new. So, I was still learning the ropes in terms of which sites could be trusted and how to make my way through the marketing names into the actual tech specs. And so I bought a motherboard. I spent, I think it was like $20 or $30 extra or something like that on a motherboard that had onboard graphics, because there were different versions of NVIDIA's Enforce 2 motherboard chipset. One without onboard graphics and one that had GeForce 4 MX graphics. And looking at that as a consumer, the latest version of GeForce that you could buy in an add-in card for like, wow, those are like $600 or $700. That's crazy. So I can get this motherboard that's just $30 extra, and it has just the last generation built right onto it, GeForce 4 instead of GeForce 5. Well, that's great. At least I'll be able to game. It supports the version of DirectX that I need to play this game. Right? You got to put yourself in the mindset of somebody who doesn't actually know anything about this yet.
Yeah.
And so I bought a motherboard with GeForce 4 MX graphics, only to realize much later that GeForce 4 MX is almost a one-for-one copy-paste of GeForce 2. It wasn't even remotely modern. Like, the whole thing was just fake bullcrap. And to be clear, GeForce 4 MX was leaps and bounds ahead of what Intel had for onboard graphics back then. So it's not like I couldn't play my Warcraft 3 on it. But what I didn't get was what I thought I was getting, what the name represented. And so we pretty much, it's a great video. You guys are going to want to watch it. We kind of run through everything that, not everything, but we run through some key highlights of times that NVIDIA has advertised one thing and delivered another. And there's a couple of recent ones that are really bad, basically. The 3056 gig is really the one that, or was it the 36? Yeah, I think it was the 3056 gig was the one that really stood out to us as being particularly awful, because it was 2 years in between the original card and the cut down version. And they call it just 3066 gig. So they differentiate only by RAM.
But the GPU is different, right?
And because they launched, no, the GPU is the same for this one. But the, oh man, I'm trying to remember all the different things that are different. No, the clock speed is cut way down. CUDA cores are down. I believe the die is the same.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me on that though. These are all details that I'm going through as we're working on the video. Yeah, and I'm not going through in my brain right now.
Yeah.
But basically, the reason that I really didn't like that one, and the reason that one inspired this video, was because it was 2 years later, and when NVIDIA launched that GPU, kind of like this one, they just did a little sneak launch. There's a blog post on their site, and that's pretty much it.
And was it at like wasn't this one at the bottom?
This one was at the bottom of a Game Ready driver bulletin.
Ooh.
The other one got its own blog post, but like they didn't seed it to reviewers. So I only found a handful of reviews on it, and because of the large viewership on those older videos from 2 years ago, and because of the similarity in the keywords, even if you explicitly search for the the 3050 6 gig, even if you explicitly search for that, you end up with results for the 3050 8 gig, which could easily make you think that you're getting something that is significantly better than what you're actually buying. And because very few people even reviewed this later card, it's just really hard to tell that it is a completely separate card, especially because as they released the 6 gig version, they didn't even revise the name of the original one to add 8 gig to it. So there's just 3050 and 3050 6 gig.
Yeah, if I was, even as a relatively informed consumer, if I was looking at that, I would assume it was just a RAM difference between the cards.
And we talk about that. We talk about how a lot of regular consumers, especially the ones buying a more mid-range or entry-level gaming card, they're going to be relying on a sales rep at a big box store.
Yeah.
They are not necessarily going to be the ones that are going and poring over articles and review videos.
And honestly, with experience of this, a lot of sales rep at big box store people are not going to look into it. They're just going to see the size difference of the memory and then try to sell that to users as they're the same thing, but there's more RAM on this one.
And that's not, I don't even blame them. Because if you could be even a fairly knowledgeable sales rep, and if you were just a little bit out of date, like you used to be able to buy cards that were the exact same cards. 8800 GTS is an example. It was available with 320 megabytes or 640 megabytes of VRAM. And if you weren't running at a high resolution, so you weren't going to buy two of them and run them in SLI and hook them up to a 1600p monitor or whatever else. If you weren't doing that, the 320 megabyte version performed exactly the same.
There's also like ever expecting a like minimum wage sales rep to go above and beyond just reading the card is like...
And so even if they had some of that knowledge and knew, oh yeah, the bigger frame buffer is more important if you're going to run at a high resolution or if you're going to install a bunch of texture mods and stuff like that, they could still end up misleading the customer.
Yeah.
So the fact that this was done so quietly is, I guess, what demonstrates that NVIDIA knows that what they're doing is wrong, right? Yeah. Like it's like when your kids are, watching TV, right? If they know they're not supposed to be doing it, the volume's way down, So you come in, you're like, hey, you're not supposed to be watching TV. Oh, no, I didn't know. Okay, well, why is the TV muted and you're watching with subtitles? You don't do that normally. Right? Like this is one of those things where...
I feel like this is something that happened.
Well, actually, my kids are really good. I'm... maybe talking about my own childhood here.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Now, are they really good, or have they just learned very well how to hide things?
I really doubt that. Yeah. No. Because, look, they don't have to ask permission to, watch TV when I'm sleeping in. So they can't, get busted for that.
Is that, a fun rule that you have? If you sleep in too long, they just do whatever? Until you wake up?
Not do
and then
whatever.
Rules turn on when you wake up.
They can't do whatever, but it's a little more loosey goosey if I need a morning sleep in. Yeah,
that's kind of fun.
I mean that's why Saturday morning cartoons existed, right? So you got to continue the tradition. Saturday morning, do whatever. All right, why don't we move on to? I want to talk about Peloton.
Sure. Yeah.
This is freaking wild. So our source here is The Verge and also Peloton directly because they appear to have no shame about this. In a recent earnings call, Peloton announced that they will be adding a $95 activation fee for secondhand exercise machines in the US and Canada. This does not apply to refurbished machines bought through Peloton, but it does apply to any machine bought directly from its previous owner.
Yikes.
The fee will apparently cover a virtual custom fitting,
which we have no idea what that means,
for Bike and Bike Plus customers, and a history/summary of the device. A regular price machine is $1,445, while used bikes range from $300 to $500. There's likewise a $44 monthly membership fee to access Peloton content. So, I think I've talked about this. A fair bit whether it's on the WAN show or whether it's Scrapyard Wars or wherever else. If you want to know the value of something, you don't look at the retail price.
Yeah.
The value of something is what it's worth on the secondhand market. Now, that doesn't mean that you should never buy anything new, because if you look at something on the secondhand market and you go, oh, wow, that still costs 80% of what a brand new one does, boy, I would sure like a brand new warranty, and this is a piece of exercise equipment. You know, I would just love to have something that nobody ever sweated on, or whatever the case. You know,
a lot of them are designed to be, that is very fair. A lot of them are designed to be very easily cleaned.
I know.
I mean, if they do have little rips and tears and stuff, it can really seep in there. It can get real gross.
Or, you know, I want to know for sure that what I'm buying has been in a smoke-free household. You know, whatever your personal sensitivities are, right? Then I think there's absolutely a valid case to be made for paying extra and getting a brand new X, you know, whatever it is. But when you go to the secondhand market and you go, these are $1,500 new, and I can pick one up for like $400. Why exactly is it that people are willing to let these go for $1,000 less than what they're worth? Because that's how much they're worth. And in the case of Peloton, I think it's pretty clear that with the $44 monthly membership fee, that is a huge drag on the value of these machines. Because people buying secondhand are generally not that into paying $500 a year in order to continue to use something that they've bought. They tend to be value conscious. So what the used market is it's a barometer for what a value-conscious person is willing to pay for something. So it can kind of help you sort of realign. And if you decide, look, I want a Peloton regardless, then that's totally your decision. And I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't spend your money on. But what I will tell you is that there's obviously a group out there that is looking at the value proposition of this thing and going, wow, that is absolute madness. So let's talk about why this activation fee exists then. So for one thing, obviously Peloton is recognizing that these extremely low-priced secondhand machines are hurting their ability to sell new machines because they're opening people's eyes to what this product is worth when you have to pay such an obnoxiously high subscription fee for it. The other thing that Peloton is doing is they are trying to make these used products less appealing. Because if a brand new one doesn't have the activation fee, but a secondhand one does, then it's almost like a country putting import tariffs on competing, let's say, for example, vehicles, right? So you're essentially saying, okay, well, our product is not competitive. Our domestic product is not competitive. So instead of making it competitive, we're just going to add a disadvantage to anything that gets imported, to any other option on the market. And to be clear, I'm not saying that import tariffs are always just sort of protectionist bullshit. There are cases where you could look at a particular industry and the way that it's getting subsidized by a foreign adversary and go, I couldn't help noticing that you're selling these way below the cost that it would cost to make them in an effort to destroy our domestic industry in the long term. That's a type of warfare, and I would actually prefer if you didn't do that.
There's also lots of other things like data collection that happens through devices and like
absolutely
a pretty considerable amount of other reasons why you might not want to just have no tariff, full open market stuff.
I'm just using it as an example to demonstrate the other kinds of approaches that exist to shore up the competitiveness of our own uncompetitive product when there are other options available. Peloton suffered significant financial losses last year, $241 million, while its losses this year look to be relatively modest at just $30 million. This is something that I've had a really hard time figuring out. How? How do you lose $30 million selling $1,500 exercise bikes?
I'm trying to look this up. Apparently, they have 3,584 employees.
Why?
I'm really trying to figure that part of that question out. I don't know yet.
Is that what you've been sitting typing away on your computer?
Oh, no. I'm planning a video, actually.
Am I being bamboozled or hoodwinked?
A quote of yours is maybe being questioned.
Oh?
Yes.
Why, what did I say?
That you can, I think the quote was that you can guarantee that there is a measurable difference of the new GPUs.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it'll actually be a video.
Sure.
But we're going to go see.
Look, hey. Measurable can be very small. You just have to be able to measure. Measurable.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out like what do they actually do? The instructors seem to be like
I would imagine they're contractors.
Live people. This isn't like recordings. Okay. So a Peloton instructor makes $29.11 an hour.
Okay.
That seems like a weird choice, but sure.
I mean, if that's part of their shtick, though, is like, hey, it's $44 a month, but it's an actual person. Yep, I could see that.
It laid off about 12% of its staff at around 500 people in October of 2022, but it still has the like 3,400 employees.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know what they all do all day necessarily. I'm sure something.
All right.
There's a lot of companies like I've looked into quite a few that I'm just like, man, like what?
People are like marketing basically. But that's such a weird thing to me. Like I feel like the whole calculation has just gotten kind of perverted in a sense. By the VC money that is dumping into whatever industry it is, right? So, okay, Peloton takes on a bunch of VC money that they use to buy up basically every ad. It juices up the price of the ads, which effectively is just like causing even themselves to throw more money into the money furnace, and then it makes it so that anyone else who wants to advertise in that vertical is going to be paying so much, and it's by definition it's at the point of unsustainability. These ads are clearly costing more in customer acquisition than they're making back from selling the bikes. Well, that's not a good.
It doesn't work.
Why don't they just stop paying an amount for ads that they can't recoup? And I'm sure there's reasons for this, right? Like I'm sure Peloton's CEO, if they have to answer to their shareholders about why their shipment volumes are down 30%, it was just like, well, I'm not willing to pay that much for ads. Then, the investors in Peloton are going to look at that and they're going to go, yeah, but this other, exercise bike company, they're buying lots of ads and they're eating up all of our market share, and it's a subscription business. So ultimately they're hoping to make money from you in the very long term anyway. So if this acquisition cost just keeps going up, then I don't know, maybe we'll just increase the subscription price and maybe we'll add a what's it called? Virtual custom fitting with a $95 activation fee and just extract even more money. Have you figured out why Peloton spends so much money?
Well, one of the ideas is that I didn't realize they had their own dedicated physical stores.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like a very insignificant amount of them. Like there's 4 between Vancouver and Seattle.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you need... Okay.
Why do you need 1?
Man, I remember having this conversation with NCIX leadership way back in the day. I pitched NCIX Lite. And basically what I wanted it to be was like, I don't know. So here, what's the plate we're sitting on right now is I think about 1,800 square feet. So what I had in mind was something in the neighborhood of about a third of this. So like 500 to 600 square feet. And essentially what it is do you remember how some of the NCIX stores back in the day were essentially just like
pickup locations?
A couple computers in the front where you could browse their website or other websites, but usually their website they preferred if you stuck to their website instead of comparison shopping. So a couple computers where you could browse their website, a small back room, and what I pitched, and this was honestly one of the big friction points, because I was like, look, I only want to carry like the top 3 products in a category. Like we're going to have, at the time, this would have been...
Because it's not really supposed to be a browsing experience.
Yeah, this would have been probably, like 2nd gen core or something like that. So, okay, so we're going to, or like maybe 3rd gen. So we're going to have the 3700 K. We're going to, or no, that would have been later. So we'll have the 2600K, the 2500K, and then like one, value AMD option. We basically take our top 3 selling CPUs. That's it. We take our top 3 selling RAM SKUs.
So basically enough to build like the most commonly built computer.
Exactly.
And then whatever.
You have a small tech area where you could take on like a half a dozen, probably about similar to like Keith's back room. But he does a lot of, at Black Lab computers, but he does a lot of mobile. And that really mobile technician stuff was not a thing that NCIX did back then.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been doing that. We'd be doing desktops only. So you'd have a small like intake area and a couple workbenches for doing servicing. And then what I had pitched was that we would essentially have our trucks, which we already had. So we already had kind of our truck fleet that went between the stores, is we would have a truck that just drove back and forth between the DC and the stores continuously so that people could save on shipping and use it as a pickup depot. This was years before Amazon implemented their pickup depot concept.
Yeah.
So to pay the rent, the idea was that we would do the servicing there. We had a trusted brand name. And then to effectively, bolster the e-tail business, we would have this fixed cost, essentially, of these trucks going back and forth between the DCs so that you could go get anything you needed in an emergency, and then you could get any of the more esoteric stuff within, let's say, 3 to 4 days or whatever it works out to, but with free shipping. I think it would have been an absolute game changer. And basically, I'm looking at this Peloton thing and I'm going, if their stores are any more than like a bike,
they're not.
Yeah. Okay, what are they?
They have cafes in them.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like if they kept it really simple and it was just an experience location and it's absolutely tiny, I'd be totally fine with that. And probably the overhead would be way less. I gotta say, man, traveling overseas really opens my mind sometimes in terms of how broken and how bureaucratic the way we do things here are. Like, I'm not saying that we should go full, like, anyone can run their own electrical wire up to the, the pole or whatever, like you see in some really scary images. I'm not saying that we should just completely deregulate everything, but I remember staying in that gaming hotel back in Taiwan like 5 years ago.
Dude, the like retail experience in Taiwan is amazing.
Dude, that hotel was just a floor of an office building.
Yeah.
That they renovated and turned into a hotel. Why does a hotel have to be in its own dedicated giant building that's zoned hotel and only hotel? Why
when
can't
we first
you just
showed up, I thought that was super weird. Within an hour, I was like, oh, it literally doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, why do we care about this?
Yeah.
In fact, it's way better because now if I had business with a company that worked on a different floor of that building, I can just stay in the hotel that's on a different floor of the same building.
You also just like, as you're going out in the morning, you go downstairs of the hotel and there's a 7-Eleven. The hotel doesn't have to make its own, like, probably garbage restaurant because most hotel restaurants suck. Some of them are great, but most of them suck.
Yep.
I don't know. It's cool. Because zoning laws, so they need to...
Needful Doer says fire code, Linus, fire code. Well, no, you should still absolutely adhere to fire code. But what is the difference between the fire code of an office building and the fire code of a hotel building? They're both a high-rise structure. Who cares what I put on this floor or what I put on that floor? And if you're going to tell me, okay, look, Linus, you're going to have to deal with, the maximum occupancy of the highest occupancy sort of permitted use of the building. Sure, fine. No problem.
Yeah.
But why do we have this extremely rigid approach to things? Why is it that the second Apple opened up these experience stores, every retailer and their dog is sitting here going, okay, how do I use the square footage that I have in my location in the least efficient way possible? Like, I've told you about my game that I like playing at airports, right? You don't know about my airport game?
You probably have, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
This is okay, it's less fun these days now that I have played it enough that I have some idea. But I had this game that I invented for myself back when I used to fly a lot.
Yeah.
And I called it, How Much Does That Cost?
Oh yes, okay.
Or no, that costs how much? That's what I used to call it. That costs how much? So what I would do is I would walk around, and there's an airport in is it Beijing, Shanghai? I don't know, Shenzhen, whatever. One of the big Chinese airports has a mall behind it. Have you been to Tuason Mills? Like the big mall in Tawasin.
I've seen pictures of it.
So one of the Chinese airports, can't remember which one, has a mall behind security. You literally cannot access this shopping mall unless you have an aircraft ticket and you have gone through security. I swear to God,
pretty wild.
It's like bigger than Tawasin Mills. It is freaking enormous.
To be fair, I'm assuming an incredible amount of people go through there every day. If they make it work, who cares? It's
freaking enormous. Anyway, so a lot of airports have shockingly large shopping centers in them. And something that I would always wonder to myself is, other than a bag of Jolly Ranchers, what are people buying at the airport? Because sometimes it's not even like duty free, right? Or
oh, really?
Yeah, and sometimes there's not even like a huge cost advantage or whatever. Like, why are you buying jewelry at an airport?
Yes,
it's gold. It's a commodity. It costs whatever it costs.
In general, I have no idea why. Almost any store that isn't like a restaurant or a convenience store or like a in case you forgot it. Charger, headphone, data cable, pillow thing store. I don't understand why any stores other than those really exist.
Who's buying a luxury watch at the airport?
I don't get it.
But anyway, sorry. So my game costs how much?
Impulse buying? Don't do that.
What are you impulse buying a $30,000 timepiece for?
Stop it. Get some help.
So anyway, my game is I would walk until I found a store whose name I didn't recognize.
Okay.
So I first became aware of Louis Vuitton when a friend of mine in high school dropped by my house to do something, and they wouldn't get out of their car because our driveway wasn't paved, and
they had Louis Vuitton
shoes. And that was it's like I have some core memories of times when I have laughed at people, like, not like, haha, you idiot, but just like I couldn't stop laughing, and it was at a person over the just utterly ridiculous way that they were behaving. One of the other times was when someone explained to me the concept of a LAN party, which I have now come around to. But as a normie, it was pretty funny. I'm sorry, you all get your computers. You set them all up next to each other.
That in hindsight is hilarious.
It is. It's ridiculous.
You run them now?
You network them all together.
Oh no, I don't mean that part. I mean you laughing at them is hilarious.
Is there any grass to touch?
Wait, how early were you a computer nerd? At what age did you not know and you were laughing at people for this?
Dude, I was in like grade 10.
When did you get into computers?
This was the summer after grade 10. I didn't get into computers till like after you, even though I'm years older than you.
Huh.
Dude, we've been through this.
My memory
I mean,
sucks.
I liked playing video games, but the concept of me and a bunch of like sweaty freaking guys networked together in a room playing games, I was like, that's what you did for your birthday party? Don't you have laser tag? Do you not play paintball?
Meanwhile, that's like every birthday party I had after I was like 14 or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that was one of them. And then one of the other ones that sticks out in my mind is the time that Buddy wouldn't get out of his car at my house because he was afraid of getting his Louis Vuitton shoes dirty. He was like, they're Louis Vuitton. I'm like, what does that even mean? What's a Louis Vuitton? And why would I care? Is that like Nike or whatever? He's like, these are $1,300 shoes or whatever. And like, I lost it. I was like, I'm sorry. I thought the function of shoes is to keep your feet from getting dirty, but you can't even walk in them. Like, what? What's the point of them? You can't even walk on something. Anyway, he was not impressed.
That's pretty amazing.
We haven't been in touch since high school. The point is, I recognize that, like I recognize, like some of the the more mainstream, but dude, I promise you, as someone who's not into the world of high fashion, if you were to go to one of those like luxury malls, you probably wouldn't even recognize the names of over half.
No, I know.
Over half of these stores. And
even just walking through the airport, I find new ones basically every time.
Yeah, so the game is you have to go to one you don't recognize, and then you have to, usually it's best if you're with someone, you have to play Price is Right rules, and you have to try to guess how much it costs without going over. And I swear to God, it's practically impossible.
You're just never going to go over.
Well, no. Oh, you can. But it's so hard because the difference between a $2,000 sneaker and a $4,000 sneaker is not evident to me.
There was a bunch of Italian super luxury brands that just got brutally ousted. I don't know if you saw this. I hope I didn't get any of this wrong. It's not in the doc, but there was like a raid on a manufacturing place in somewhere in Italy, I believe it was because they wanted to be able to keep saying that their stuff was made in Italy.
Yeah.
But they wanted to be able to get it made for cheaper. So they were basically running like a sweatshop, but in Italy. And they found like in the raid, it came out like what the actual materials that were used and stuff, because there was like I believe there was some form of legal process. So certain documents were revealed to the public. It's like insane. Like, I don't know, like $20,000 purse, $40 of leather type situation.
Well, yeah.
I think it was 50,000% markups.
Dude.
And stuff.
A cow is a fucking cow. A cow's a cow. Like, having spent some time now in the apparel industry, I can tell you guys, it doesn't cost that much more to make a high quality. I mean, look, actually, I wanted to talk about this week. We won the overall highest grade on Project Farm's YouTuber merch t-shirt test.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we didn't come out on top in terms of what were the two categories, comfort or durability. We weren't the softest. That was one of the big knocks against us for comfort. And our material fade was on the higher side compared to some of the other ones. But I mean, I could talk for a very long time about the trade-offs that exist. So softness can often come at the cost of more pilling.
Yeah.
And Todd did
really well on pilling.
Notice that we don't have a lot of pilling. There's reasons why we do the things that we do. Anyway, the difference between our shirt in terms of my cost on it compared to like a Hanes beefy tee, you know, like just a bottom of the barrel, like mainstream shirt, is not much. It's like a few dollars. That's why even with printing, which is done here in Canada and on both sides, we still do the okay, this is a staff shirt from LTX, but whatever. We still do the little LTT logo in the back. Even with both sides screen printing, high quality screen printing, we scored really well on our screen printing quality as well, and the durability of our prints. Outstanding, which we already knew, but hey, it's good to have third parties validate these things. Even with that, that's why our shirts are still $19.99. A lot of merch shirts are $30 or even $40 or more. You go to a concert, you're probably paying $50, $60 for a shirt.
Easily.
That shirt does not cost 3 times what this one costs. Higher quality materials don't cost that much. They do tend to put our products at the higher end of what a given category will cost, but I don't think completely outlandish. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all to find out that $40,000 purse is made out of, $40 or a couple $100 worth of leather.
Apparently, I was just skimming over an article for it. This isn't a prep topic. If you're interested in it, you should look into it yourself. But yeah, it was like Dior and a couple other brands like that. But they ended up finding that they had inhumane working conditions for the manufacturing of the stuff, and they were buying, I think it was a bag was $57 and it was selling for $2,600 or something like that. So like there's obviously no reason for the inhumane working conditions when you're making that much margin. There's never a good reason for inhumane working conditions, but I do kind of wonder with some of the clientele for those types of products, does that make it better?
Does what make it better?
The inhumane working conditions.
Oh,
that's a weird psychological dive that we're not going to be able to answer right now. But
you really feel the
suffering. Yeah, like I wonder sometimes. Like I don't care if it's $56.
Has this got feel on it?
Suffered for this.
Does it feel leather?
I don't think anyone would directly say that. But
unless you're in private company.
But the rarity of it, the unattainability of it, is absolutely the point.
Yeah, because
we know that the point is not the quality.
Yeah.
The point is that other people can see you with it. And so with that in mind, by definition, in order to be rare, it has to cost so much that
people can't attain it.
If time is money, then that means money is time. So it has to be worth so much time that the only way to have it is that your time is worth so much more than someone else's time, if that makes sense. And so with that in mind, kind of.
Yeah. Tim in Full Plane Chat just said blood diamonds are a coveted thing. Yeah.
Really?
It's kind of the same deal.
I didn't know that.
Oh, they totally are, yeah.
But I thought blood diamond is just an expression.
People want real diamonds. They don't care if the manufactured ones are like just as good or the same or whatever. They want like real pulled out of the ground diamonds, which basically results in blood
but you
diamonds.
you can buy Canadian diamonds, for example. Like Yvonne's ring is Canadian.
Yeah, a lot of people don't bother.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like totally a thing.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, maybe on to...
Anyway, Phil H says, what I really value about your t-shirts is they don't shrink. That is another interesting thing that Todd observed. I believe we were the highest, or no, I think we were the second. I think we were the second best for shrinkage. And I got to send the most fun email that I've sent in a long time to our fashion team when I saw his test. So Todd didn't talk to us about this at all. He just ordered shirts, I guess. And I found out about the video at the same time you guys did. So
that's generally how he does things.
I watched it with my butt clenched. You know how it is. And I was very excited to see that we scored extremely well. But what Todd, as in his everyman style, might not necessarily realize is the why behind some of the things that he observes.
I was just going to bring up the chart at the end, but you should probably go watch the video instead.
Yeah, no, you guys should go watch the video.
If you go watch the video, at a certain point, I'm not even going to tell you when, at a certain point, he puts a chart up on screen. You can see the overall scores for everything, but you should go watch it yourself.
Yeah. So he doesn't necessarily get into the why. And what I can tell you is that anything cotton is going to shrink. So if a garment doesn't shrink and it has like any percentage of cotton in it, what it means is that it's pre-shrunk. It means that there's an additional step, there's an additional cost that went into the production of that garment in order to safeguard it from warm washing and especially hot drying. And what's funny is I am the driving force. This is one of those things. We have a great team, and they do the hard work of, sourcing and QA and validation and we have capabilities that we wouldn't have even dreamed of, 5 years ago when we started up Creator Warehouse. Like Tatiana is amazing. You'd be like, yeah, so I need something that's antimicrobial, and I need it to do this, and I need it to do that. And she comes back a few weeks later with like different swatches, and she's like, yeah, well, this one's Tencel, and this one's this, and this one's that. We looked into silver, but it's like super, super harmful. So we're not going to explore that. And it's like, yeah, we do like material science now and stuff. Super cool.
I didn't know silver was harmful.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know much about that stuff, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. But the point is, I am the way that I see it. I'm kind of like our prototypical customer, right? And like you guys wouldn't,
even with your particular body dimensions.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like the things that matter to me, right? Is like you guys wouldn't follow this channel if you didn't have anything in common with me. So when I kind of get something in my head and I go, no, this is really important. Yeah, I tend to kind of until I've seen evidence to support otherwise, I tend to be like this about it. And the fashion team has been pushing me for a long time. They're like, look, the shrinking doesn't matter that much because hold on, because as long as we have proper care instructions, people should follow the care. Hold on. People should follow the care instructions, and then they won't have any issues as long as they wash cold and lie flat to dry. They're not going to have any concerns. And you know what? We will do garments occasionally that really do need to be treated. But hold, please. We will do garments occasionally if there's a particular reason, there's a particular fit or feel that we're trying for, and there's just absolutely no other way to do it that require proper care. But in general, I always tell the team, I'm like, look, if it can't be hucked into the washer on warm and hucked into the dryer, we can't ship it to our audience. And so I got to send them one of my most fun emails in a long time when I was like, hey, did you guys see we killed it on the shrinking? Which is also good, by the way, for the longevity of the print.
That makes sense.
We killed it on the shrinking because we insist on pre-shrinking. Sometimes we multiple times pre-wash and pre-shrink our base materials before we construct our garments. So we killed it because I keep insisting on this, and I couldn't help noticing that Todd, for his test, hucked all the t-shirts in the washer on warm and hucked them all in the dryer. Once again, Linus's laziness saves the day. And I got an immediate email back like, oh, I was cringing so hard watching that.
I've been informed that things that I have washing instructions on labels that I've never read before. And I've just basically been like, well, we'll see what happens. Because even if I treat it correctly, the time someone tells me, the next time it goes through, it's just going to be in the laundry hamper. I'm going to toss the whole laundry hamper in the thing. If doing the laundry if doing like a load of laundry, just putting in the washer, then putting in the dryer, takes more than just picking up as much clothes as I can and shoving it in all at once, I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
That's it.
Fun2 says, Linus so proud, stingy rules. This is not stinginess. We pay extra to make sure that our garments can handle being treated the way that I treat my garments.
Because he knows a lot of the audience is probably going to treat it that way. And I bet you well over 50% of this audience would treat it that way.
Yep.
So like
it was really important to wear test these cargo pants. So these are launching really soon. We have the stock.
Oh.
We just haven't launched yet. These are launching really soon. I'm really excited. But one of the things that we wanted to see, because they will fade, this material will fade, but we wanted to make sure that they were going to fade with like a nice patina. Sure. So Tynan's been wearing them constantly.
Yep,
Andrew has been wearing them constantly. I've been wearing them constantly. We've been beating the crap out of these cargo pants. And there's a few things we found, like the magnet for the flap detached in mine, so we made sure we reinforced that. That's why you got to wear test.
Yep.
That's why if you are a company leader and you don't use your company's products, you're flying blind.
Yeah.
You're absolutely flying blind, because the people who are going to notice these problems, they don't have the voice to affect change. You got to notice them for yourself. So we got that changed anyway. So speaking of patina, these are now covered in chlorine stains. They've like faded out just from being washed many times. I've got blood stains on them right now. I'll explain my arm and the blood stains on my pants. I had a thing happen yesterday. I'm still wearing these from yesterday. Whatever, don't judge me. I'm on vacation this week. Anyway,
they're pants, right? You change your underwear, you're all good.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing fresh underwear every day, so whatever. Anyway,
LTTStore.com underwear.
Very excited about these. These are coming soon. LTTStore.com. I forget the point that I was getting at, but it's not about cheaping out. It's about designing for, the gamer lifestyle. I think, the typical gamer should be applauded for washing their clothes at all, let alone proper care instructions. I got to set my expectations at a reasonable level for y'all.
Yeah.
See, I've attended enough LAN parties now that I know my people. Okay. I know my people.
Especially as well, if it was like notably communicated on the website while I was buying a product that there was special care instructions, I just wouldn't buy it. Like straight up, because I would be like, oh, well, I'll ruin that. So I might as well just go for someone else. And there are other options, right? So it's like, I don't know. Why deal with the one that I know I'm going to ruin?
Speaking of garments from LTTStore.com, I'm actually not sure if you guys have clued into this one yet. Let's see if it's one of the... Oh, yeah, it's one of the top selling products today. All right. We're going to show this while we explain merch messages. Merch messages are the way to interact with the show. They go to producer Dan, who's going to pop your merch message down there. Yeah, exactly. Down there, or reply to it himself, or forward it internally, or curate it for me and Luke to talk about. And to send a merch message, you don't want to send any Twitch bits or any super chats like that. You want to send merch messages so that in addition to throwing money at your screen and chatting with Dan or putting up a post on the bottom of the show, you can also get high quality merchandise in the mail. And I'm very excited to announce the hotfix patch hoodie. Okay, here it is.
Oh man.
You want to throw one on?
Yes, I wanted to check on the scribe driver and just found that it is yet again entirely sold out.
Yeah.
How fast
What
did
did you
that
think
happen?
was going to happen?
I knew, but
I think it was 3 or 4 days this time.
my goodness,
Yeah.
10,000 pins, wasn't it?
Yep. Okay. This is yours is there.
Oh.
This is the hotfix patch hoodie. This one's fun. When you order, you will get one of 3 patches. Here, I'm just going to do Linus Cam for a second here. So there are 3 different patches that could be stitched onto our iconic tie-dye hoodie that we debuted last year during LTX. There's about a 95% chance that you're going to get a WAN show inspired patch, which is the one that Luke and I are wearing right now. Oh, one moment, please.
Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
I was going to do that.
This might be a little hot for today, but we'll see how it goes. Yes. A 95% chance that you will get a WAN inspired patch like this, or there's a 5% chance that you will get the elusive Breadsaurus patch. Oh, it says, oh, what? And a 0.1% chance that you will get the ultra rare purple Breadsaurus.
Oh.
We don't have one to show physically, so the store will be the best way to show it. These hoodies are individually tie-dyed, not printed, so you'll always get a unique pattern. They're
Also
available now
incredibly comfy.
on LTTStore.com in limited quantities at lmg.gg/hotfix. You know what's really funny?
Do these come already on, or you have to affix them?
No, these come already on.
Okay.
And we know that, you know what, they could be like, they could seem a little bit more, you know, attached more better. We know. But basically, the reason they're called the hotfix, and this is actually funny because
People are pointing out.
What?
You figured out how to get Lootbox mechanics onto the store.
I mean, this isn't the first time. What do you got? What do you guys want?
We do have mystery products. We literally, okay, yeah,
we,
fair enough.
We've got mystery products.
Yeah, nice.
Dude, whether they admit it or not, whether they know it or not, people love Lootbox stuff.
This sweater, not technically the one with the patch, but it's the same sweater,
Hold on. No. Okay, go ahead, and I'll be right back.
Is extremely comfy, and it's the sweater that I keep at work for that reason. I like it very much. The dropout hoodie is also extremely comfy. All of our hoodies are, but those ones in particular. But I find this one's like a little bit lighter, I think. Yeah.
I want to steal the Breadsaurus one.
You could probably get it from him. I think he has two.
Probably be murdered.
You won't even know, dude.
Oh, throw it over here. Yeet. Oh, the computer's broken. Stream's over. Thanks, Luke.
You won't even know.
I'll put it on the list.
Where's the other one? Oh,
Oh, good timing.
wait, did you throw that?
Yeah, so that's
What is that?
Oh, yeah.
so on my week off, the team yells at me whenever I wear this whenever I wear it on camera because you can't buy it.
Oh, yeah.
So when I'm on my time off, this is the hoodie I was wearing
Because they're so comfy.
that I specifically took off so that I could come in and do WAN show in something. Oh, actually, I'm wearing an LTX t-shirt anyway. So that I could come and do WAN show.
You're wearing a
in,
shirt
like,
that was never on sale.
whatever the. Oh yeah, I guess the staff LTX shirt.
Yeah.
This is too warm for me to wear right now, especially when I was running over there right now. But the point is, it's a great hoodie. Here's what it looks like. Extremely well worn.
Yeah. You also have to remember that all the dyes are individual. So some of this white, I suspect, was already probably there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Because you can see a little bit on this one.
Yep. No, that's just part of the of the tie-dye.
Linus has more on the back of his shoulder and stuff like that on his.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's such a cool hoodie, you guys. Anyway, the reason the patches are gigantic and like kind of weird is because they're covering... We had a batch of these where the LTX was printed at an angle. Our printer's really... You remember this now?
Yes, I do.
Our printer's really good, but he... You know what? I'm going to call it a team fail because he didn't notice, we didn't notice, And we ended up with an entire batch of hoodies for LTX that had the LTX at an angle. That was unacceptable. I made the call. It was a painful call, but we basically redid it.
Some people in Flopling chat are already planning on removing the patches so they can have LTX sweaters.
I wouldn't do that. I believe they use
like a really
adhesive.
tight. Oh, okay.
Or like a wax or whatever. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to end up with an even bigger patch on it to cover up the mess that you make when you remove this patch. Do not do that.
Okay, good thing you showed up.
But that's why the patches are like so awkwardly kind of big, because this is
to cover it.
It's the hot fix.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're patching in a fix.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, guys, check out the hotfix patch hoodie. It's a really nice hoodie for $60.
Whoa, yeah. See, like Colton's
chances.
has all that red there.
Yep.
I think it's really cool that they're unique.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, it's real tie-dye, which costs more, because that's how we roll, baby. Some of them have really cool patterns. Some of them have really not quite as cool patterns, but still really cool patterns. So there's the elusive, ultra rare Breadsaurus patch.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to take this off, though, because I
probably won't be able to keep it on for the whole
absolutely
show, but
dying.
I'll do what I can.
Ugh.
I didn't go for a run, so a bit easier.
Okay. I will maybe put it back on, but dude, I am sweating. Merch messages then. So if you place an order on the store in the cart, you'll get a little box that pops up. You can leave a merch message and it'll go to us, and Dan can show you guys kind of how it works. He'll curate a few merch messages for us here. What do we got, Dan?
Yeah, sure. I actually have one that's on topic. Let's see. Hi.
Are you implying that normally I am not on topic?
No, normally,
Mr. Besser?
The merch messages are not on topic with what you were just talking about. So I'm blaming our audience. It's their fault. Hi, congrats on the good project farm rating. I've been interested in shirts printed with discharge ink. Are there any major concerns or major cons to the process? It seems like nothing from LTTStore uses it.
What?
I'm going to be honest with you.
What's that?
We use what our printer uses. He has a lot of experience. I think you guys saw on the Project Farm video that our print quality is extremely high. So whatever we use is what he uses. And I tend to be the kind of person where if my experts tell me something, then, you can
ask some questions about it.
But I tend to not believe that I know best when it comes to, like, I realize this is a little bit contradictory because I just said that I argue with my fashion team about like care instructions and whatever else, but that's me knowing the customer. That's different.
Yeah.
When it comes to them telling me, okay, well, with all of your design guidelines in mind, here's what you use. I got to defer, right? I got to trust my experts. And if my experts screw up enough times, well then, we have to have a tough conversation, right? But at the end of the day, I am not a screen printing expert. All I know is that our quality is outstanding, which I've observed for myself.
And
which I have heard from our customers.
One Project Farm.
And which we just won Project Farm's roundup for. So I know this. And so if Marco says, hey, here's what I'm going to use, I say, yes, sir.
You want to know something that I thought was pretty interesting about the Project Farms thing? Is it was like kind of what I would have expected. Like most of when he like showed all the shirts that he was going to test, I was like, yeah, I like kind of expect that one's going to end there. It wasn't exactly. I was off on a few of them, but like, and I didn't do exact proper wrote it down guesses, but like things performed about what you would expect.
It's on the one hand, there's a lot of details, but on the other hand, it's not that hard to like pick up a garment and go, oh yeah, this is like not a quality garment, or it is. I just think a lot of people are not really used to it and don't have an eye for it. And like, I see so many comments from people being like, oh yeah, I never really cared about shirts. And then like I bought one from LTT, and then I immediately bought the 4-pack on Lime Day. And now that's just like what I wear now.
Yeah.
Cause it's, I don't know, it's nice. And it's such a, compared to socks, for example, shirts are so easy to treat yourself once and then have really nice shirts, like t-shirts basically forever. Like I wear the crap out of my rotation of shirts, and they last a really long time. Like I wear through even really high quality socks. I'll wear through them pretty quickly just because of badminton. But man, shirts, they can last a really long time when they don't suck. So to me, it's a pretty reasonable investment.
I'm surprised we don't have white blanks.
I can explain that.
Please do.
We target a very light wearing shirt, and you actually probably saw that in the Project Farm Roundup. There were some that were heavier. Heavier does not necessarily mean more quality. It doesn't.
Could indicate.
It could, but it doesn't necessarily, and it comes with trade-offs. So we live in a temperate climate, and we also sort of philosophically will layer up as opposed to like wear a heavier t-shirt, I guess. And so our shirts are designed to be highly breathable, really lightweight, a little bit stretchy to be a bit more accommodating of different body types. And those are things that are not necessarily the easiest thing to achieve with a heavier fabric. We also really like the way our shirt hangs. And that's something that you tend to lose with a heavier fabric as well, because the weight is weight. It's literal weight. And so it will pull, and it will tend to fit a little bit tighter at the top, and it'll tend to bunch up more at the bottom. Another reason that... Oh, go ahead.
What does that have to do with it being white?
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So our light shirts in white would be very friendly. We did experiment with a heavier shirt.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a heavier all cotton white shirt. And
so you'd have like all the colored blanks and then separately the white blanks. Yeah.
I forget why we ultimately killed it, but we decided that we're not going to have a white shirt.
Oh, okay. So you're not even going to do like a different version of it.
The reason we didn't start with a white shirt, because you would think a plain white shirt is literally the vanillaest of places to start, is because whenever I get a white shirt, it takes me about a month to have a pasta stain on it. And I figured, we are kin, right? Do you guys really want a white shirt? It's the same reason we don't make white mouse pads.
Yeah.
Sarah talked me into doing one special edition light colored mouse pad once, the GPU Wasteland one. And within, I think, a couple of months of her dailying it, she was like, I get it. We're never doing a white mouse pad again. I was like, you better believe it. Because it had like coffee stains everywhere and stuff. And Sarah's she's not a slobby person. Like I've literally spent time in her workspace, literally spent time in her home. Like we've socially hung out. She's not a slob or anything. It just happens, man.
Yeah.
Especially you got pets and all that.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? Stuff happens. And so
do pet things sometimes.
Yeah, man. We don't. Oh yeah. So here's the cotton shirt. I don't believe we're restocking it, but apparently we do have it. But that's why it's on a separate page, because it had to be 100% cotton for some reason, and then it had to be thicker. Yeah, there you go.
So that is literally just what we do.
220 GSM compared to 165.
Ooh. And so, from watching that video, that means this one will shrink, right? Or is this one pre-shrunk?
It will, but it's pre-shrunk. Yep.
Okay.
It'll shrink more than our regular one,
right,
but probably not that much.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, this entire show has just turned into like garment discussion. That really wasn't my intention.
I never
today.
really cared, and then I watched the Project Farm video, and now I'm like, all these like little pieces of info.
I have learned a lot in the last 5 years.
This is getting to be too hot. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's one of those things like when Gerald Undone came for the studio tour, and like the team had like prepped him. I guess they were just like making fun of me, but they had prepped him that like, I only know computers. I'm not going to know anything about cameras. So part of his shtick for the tour was that he was going to like gotcha me on cameras? Like not knowing, lenses and cameras and capture utilities and, media and stuff like that. And halfway through the tour, he was like, this isn't even fun because you like know everything. And it's just like, yeah, the thing is I don't believe that as a leader, you can make intelligent decisions if you don't ask questions and if you don't listen to the answers. Like, how am I supposed to have an intelligent argument with my team about something like video frame rate if I don't understand their perspective? Because the best way to win an argument is to open with, here's your perspective that I can demonstrate that I understand. Now, let me share an alternative viewpoint. Because if people don't feel like they've been heard, the first thing they're going to think about as soon as you present an alternate viewpoint is, yeah, but mine, yeah, but mine, yeah, but mine. And they can't listen. Someone can't listen while they are trying to formulate what they want to say. And I'm not going to say nobody can do that. You know, I'm sure that very brilliant people can do that, or even, you know, significantly above average people can do that. But most people, it's really difficult. And that difficulty is elevated, especially if the conversation has some emotional component to it. Like, say, for example, someone were to have like a very, very strong emotional feeling about Android. Say, for example, that were the case. If someone were to come out and say something that challenged some of their preconceived notions about the Android ecosystem, I don't think they would be capable of hearing what that person is saying before responding to it. And I mean, that's not a particularly hypothetical example here. Did you get a chance to watch that video, by the way?
I did not. The
stock Android sucks video that caused such an uproar in the community this week. I had some really funny exchanges with Chewy, our community manager, because he has done some community management in the past, I think for like subreddits and stuff like that. But in terms of the size of our community and like YouTube comments and just how unfiltered everything is, he's almost on like a bi-weekly basis encountering some fresh hell. And the comments on that video,
I'm so happy that's not what I do,
particularly stood out to him. He'd just be like pinging me, because I was on vacation this week anyway. So he'd be like pinging me. He's going like, what percentage of the video do you think this guy watched?
Yeah.
And I understand why some people were upset about it. It's because they already know. They already know that, you know, Pixel OS and One UI and Lineage OS and all of these different versions of Android are different versions of Android, and that stock Android, in the way that we might have traditionally thought of it, doesn't exist anymore. And so for them, it's very obvious that Pixel OS is stock when he was talking about that. So they know. I get it. Like, some of the most upset comments I got were from people that started with, I've been an Android developer for 5 years and blah, blah, blah. Right. But all you had to do was go down into the comments a little bit past the people who were super mad about it, or even in the conversations under the people who were super mad about it, and see the people saying, I didn't know this.
Which were there. I looked through the comments. I didn't watch the video, but I did read the comments.
So believe it or not every video is for every person. And if you already knew that AOSP has degraded to the point where it's basically unusable, and by design, and by design, it's not meant to be used. But there were times when it was far more usable, and when stock Android really did mean as close to AOSP as possible. Whereas now, the entire point of the video was that when we say stock Android, that doesn't have a clearly defined meaning anymore. Because stock Android, AOSP, a GSI, a generic system image, in the way that it exists now, is not really something that is designed to be run. Many of those stock applications are degraded to the point where they're not really usable in the way that we would think of, you know, a modern phone as being usable. And that's because the expectation is that, well, Samsung's just going to replace it, and Xiaomi's going to replace it, and even we here at Google are just going to replace it anyway, so who cares? But that was the conversation, because I've been told a lot of times that I don't even know what stock Android is, because I'll complain about something to do with a phone and people will be like, well, Linus, that's stock Android. And so what I wanted to answer for myself was, okay, well, what exactly is stock Android? And it turns out it doesn't really exist.
Almost nothing. Yeah.
And what's really funny is, as far as I can tell, it's a really similar crowd that was yelling at me about it both ways. Because when I am complaining about, you know, Google's skin or Sony's skin, they'll shriek at me, well, that's a stock Android behavior. And then when I pull out stock Android and I go, okay, well, how do things work here? They'll go, well, no one's meant to use it like that. Well, okay, so either no one's meant to use this and I'm allowed to attack anybody, be they Fairphone or Sony or Samsung or Google, for the way they integrate their skin, integrate stock Android into their custom skin, or you can have it the other way. You can't have both. Either I'm allowed to criticize these custom skins in any way that I want because they don't have a function that I feel is important and necessary, or you have to accept that stock Android is stock Android. That's it.
Do you think it would be, I genuinely don't know what the law around this kind of stuff is. Do you think it would be possible for Google to restrict Android and become the only manufacturer?
I don't think so, because it's AOSP, right? Like someone could just fork it then. Like it's open source at its very core.
What if they abandoned AOSP?
I don't foresee it.
I don't foresee it either. I'm just wondering, like, it's an interesting play.
I think it's possible.
Like Pixel's, I really wonder what Pixel market share is. I don't think it's very high.
No. And that's the other funny one is the Pixel owners. You can pick them out a mile away because to them, Pixel OS is obviously stock Android, even though it is full of Google-specific features.
Absolutely.
And tweaks that don't necessarily exist on other Android devices. And that you couldn't even say is like Android, like the normal Android as you might consider it to be, because Pixel OS has tiny market share compared to something like One UI. It's not even close.
So, see, the Bitman in Floatplane Chat said Google is functionally doing that with Google Play Services and the enshittification of GSI/AOSP. I don't necessarily agree, because if I'm a Samsung, I don't actually want Google to do all that much with AOSP. I just want the baseline stuff to be really good, and then I want them to get out of the way so that I can make my own things for differentiation reasons. I don't want a fully feature fat AOSP, because then there's less differentiation between vendors.
The what of what in Floatplane Chat says Nexus is more AOSP than Pixel. And that is a perfect example of the kinds of comments that we got endlessly on that video that were literally things we said in the video. We talked about how going back to Google's old phones, they were closer, but even then they weren't stock Android, and it's deviated farther and further as time's gone on. The number of people that were enraged, clarifying something in the comments that was literally in the video was mind-blowing on this one. Like, even for me, so I talked about how Chewy has a little less experience with this stuff than I do. Even I looked at this one and I went, are you even for real right now?
The people that still deeply care about phones these days, with the amount of years of incredibly uninteresting launches that we've had, is going to be some passionate people.
And I think part of it is that, you know, some folks, and, you know, again, I know my community. There's a reason we vibe, you know? I think some of it is just not picking up on social cues. Like one person wrote a long, impassioned thing about how I completely misunderstood my point that I was trying to make, or whatever it is they were trying to say. And at the end they go, and I can't believe that over this, Linus is going to iPhone. No, I'm just gonna, bro, it's showmanship. I'm just, like, he's so incompetent. He can't even use a Pixel normally. He puts a GSI on it like an idiot, and then he goes to iPhone because it's bad? What an idiot. It's like, my job is to be a tech reviewer. If I don't use an iPhone once in a while, I'm not doing a very good job. And, like, the iPhone is fine. It's fine. And the Pixel's fine. Everything's fine.
Probably had a really hard day.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Shraf2K said, every comment should have a timestamp attached for when they made their comment. I've actually suggested that to YouTube multiple times. One of the things I've also suggested to YouTube is...
Timestamp and like percentage of video watched, both separately.
Allowing creators to gate comments based on a required percentage of video watched. Because I think I would probably gate ours at around 75%. If you haven't watched most of the video, I really don't see how you deserve to be posting a comment on it.
I feel like there should maybe be a cap on that, though. Like you should. I don't think you should be able to set it at actually 100% of the video.
No, because especially if Google is going to implement their own intro block and sponsor segment blocks, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Premium is now getting like skip most often skipped segments as a button.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I believe they're trialing that. I don't think it's fully rolled out, but you're not going to be able to require people to watch 100% of the video.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, if you've watched 10% of this video, if you've watched the intro and you're angry, then I don't need to see your irrational anger. And it is irrational at that point. You haven't taken the time to even hear the argument. Like if you want to watch YouTube Shorts, you want to watch 1 minute content, by all means, go watch that. Go do that somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is long form content.
Yeah.
We have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And until you've actually consumed a fair enough portion of it, you're not really in a position to comment on it. So I definitely have a lot of thoughts about how the comment section could become a little bit less chaotic and a little bit less toxic. I'd also like to see better tools for us to moderate those. For example, one of the things that I'm going to be asking for, in addition to being able to shadow ban a user, is I want to be able to shadow ban anyone who thumbs up that user. One fell swoop.
Whoa.
And if we see something that is particularly toxic, like say, for example, some kind of hate speech. You're just done.
Yeah.
Why am I, just because 500 people upvoted something doesn't make it valid.
If somebody's dropping N-words and people are thumbsing it up, I'd be very happy to shadow ban all of them.
Yep.
That's the scenario that I came up with in my head.
Or, something as stupid as, why does Adam have painted nails? Oh, he's gay. Who cares? You're done. You and your entire punk-ass crew are all done, from my point of view, right?
Is there any way to even see on, as a creator on YouTube, is there any way to see who the people that liked something are? No.
And I don't need to. I don't care who they are. They're irrelevant.
You just want to be able to shadow ban them.
Yep. I just want to be able to much more easily get rid of them. Josh420 says, I feel a lot of creators would abuse such a tool.
Who cares?
And you know what? That's rough.
Go watch someone else's content. There is like actually practically infinite other things that you could do. If that creator is banning you, just get out of there. Go to someone else.
And voting with your feet is not a bad thing, but I do see their point. Like if someone was...
Your feet?
Yeah, by just walking away.
Okay.
Yeah. If someone was... Say, for example, going through like I hate to bring up, like underage controversies, so
a bunch of YouTubers.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
So if they're just shadow banning anyone who...
Yeah, but they can do that anyways. Like they already have that functionality.
I guess that's true. We're just making it less work.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying in regards to the person who's saying they might abuse that. It's like, yeah, they can already delete whatever the heck they want. They can already set up scripts that will delete things that reference certain words. Like it's, they already have all of these tools.
I guess that's true.
There's no, that's why I said who cares, is because it's already fully abusable.
Top Gear asks, banned from viewing or just having their comment seen? Just having their comment seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And Dark24 says, shadow banning to me is ridiculous.
If you moderate a extremely open, tens of thousands of potentially millions of users platform, I think extremely quickly you will not, your opinion will shift.
Yeah.
I can understand how if you haven't done that, I fully understand and used to believe the same thing.
I was very against it when we talked about the setup for the forum, for example.
The main rule for the forum originally was that you could attack Linus and myself, but nobody else. There was no shadow banning. There was only full banning. And it was like kind of hard to get banned. And then the user base grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and more bad actors started noticing, oh, wow, the rules here are pretty light. Let me just go around and like wreck everyone's day for no reason. Yeah. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. The ultimate answer is that they're not a lot, actually. A subset of people really suck, and they will find ways to just be annoying in as many ways as they possibly can. And it actually doesn't take a ton to ban those people out, and then the quality of the conversation, the quality of the people, all that kind of stuff skyrockets because the amount of impact that this small group of people has is actually enormous.
I'm already seeing a difference in our comment section.
I'm not surprised at all.
Like I wonder if one of the reasons that AOSP video stood out to me was because our comment section has actually been really good, quite a bit better lately.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. This one like did kind of blow up outside of our usual sphere, and that's always sort of where you see those sort of spikes in ignorant takes where people are coming in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Off of some random subreddit. They're not even watching the video. They're just seeing someone else's summary that was inaccurate, and then there's this like posting an angry thing. Yeah.
Ian Xmas in Floatplane Chat said, I would rather full ban over shadow banning. That's just me, though. So one of the big reasons why you want to shadow ban is because if you know this user is like definitely just bad actor, by banning, you're communicating to them that they're banned.
Yep.
It takes roughly 30 seconds to make another account. It's a free platform. They'll just go boop and then they're back.
Yep.
So you don't want to communicate that they're banned because then they work around it. And it's like extremely obvious and extremely easy to work around it, and notably satisfying to those users to work around it because they know that they just took your time to go through and ban these comments. They know that they just wasted your time. They know that you think that it worked, and then you're going to go in and do even worse things now, knowing that this is the tool that they're going to use and it's extremely ineffective.
Yep.
Shadow banning is actually amazing.
Like, here's an example of someone who's going to be shadow banned forever and doesn't deserve to know that they were banned. This guy says, "What's up with the Star of David? Free Palestine." There's a comment replying to them. Go ahead, read it.
I believe that is a board for Chinese checkers.
They were referring to the Chinese checkers board that I have on my wall in my basement.
Oh. That's amazing.
I didn't understand at all what that was supposed to tell. When Linus first showed me the comment, I was just like, is this like AI generated or like what's happening? Okay,
that is an example of just, I'm sorry, but you're too stupid to have an opinion on our videos anymore. Like, you're done, bud.
So this is a Chinese checkerboard.
It was funny. I saw a couple of really good conversations on Reddit actually about this video where someone was like, look, I'm one of the ones that's always getting after Linus about, talking about comments and like haters and stuff. But this video has opened my eyes.
Yeah.
To the kind of
you don't get it until you get 50,000 comments every day.
Completely irrational and unnecessary bullshit.
I will say
that is going on here. Yeah.
I will say sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You dive real deep.
I know.
And real dark. You bring extra air tanks and you find those buried treasures comments and you let them get to you. I don't think this was that case.
Sure.
But it does happen sometimes.
That's fair. And my exposure to it is extremely high.
Yes.
But I guess, when I'm talking about those outliers, it's because I have also experienced these sort of rushes of stupidity.
Yeah.
And I know that every one of those that I just take down over time.
I actually prefer now that there's an active process to it. I think before, when you were just passively observing and taking all of that in, I think it was worse. Even now, I think sometimes, maybe it can be a little much at times because you dive real deep into stuff. But yeah. Would you implement auto shadow ban on Floatplane? We have no auto banning on Floatplane.
The religious symbol in question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a game board. Aren't there other game boards next to it too that should have given it away?
Not on the same wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It doesn't matter. You just like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Calm down.
Relax.
Calm down. The world is fucked up enough without, like,
yeah,
you know, not being able to calm down a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Chewy went from, I think, being very light moderation minded to nowadays.
No, it's needed.
Like, if anything, he's the hammer.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, no, dude, I get it now.
It makes sense.
I get it now. Because
Wookiee tactics.
Think about how stupid. Okay, you went to high school, right? You know, most of you watching probably went to high school.
What an accusation.
So you probably
How dare you?
You probably had somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people in your school. Okay? So think about...
Yeah, there was some absolute dinguses.
Think about the 5 to 10 biggest complete fuckwits in your high school.
The lack of drama, the lack of actual physical fighting and all this other kind of stuff that would happen with the removal of those 5 people. Yeah, totally. It's almost always a very small percentage of the population. Yeah. But
when you have 14 million people...
Then it's a lot of people.
It's tens of thousands.
And 14 million people that has a constant somewhat amount of churn. You have new people coming in all the time. You have some people leaving all the time. And then you have to try to figure out how to deal with this. And there's a part of the internet that is just going to kind of float around and try to create problems.
Floatplane chat is so unhappy. They're like, don't bring me back to that trauma. There were 400 in mine.
But imagine how much better or not bad that trauma would have been if certain people could have been removed.
They could have been ground up into food.
Soylent.
Yeah. Soylent Green.
Everyone's useful.
Yes. We will take the hate and turn it into fuel.
Guys. Hey.
It's a little further than shadow banning.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a shadow ban from this job.
I think so.
Man, you guys. Okay, the last thing before we do these merch messages that we're supposed to do. Scrapyard Wars Season 9 finale. Coming very, very soon on Floatplane for early access. Who will win? Tune in to find out. We had a ton of fun with the judges, and we're excited to share the culmination of everyone's hard work on the series. It's over 40 minutes long, so it is the longest part of the series here. Make sure you're subscribed on Floatplane to watch it ahead of everyone else. Finally, a big thank you to Jawa for partnering with us this season for Scrapyard Wars. They have their own massive giveaway still running, and you can score some great prizes, like the Jawa Edition LTT screwdriver. There are some signed ones, I think, or even the rigs that Luke and I built with our teammates, Sammy and Elijah.
Which are pretty sick.
You can check it out at the link in the description, but act fast because time is running out. I watched it today.
How's it?
It's really good.
Nice.
It's really good. It's very chaotic. There's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Because unlike some of the past ones, it's not just Judgment Day. Like, you were running out doing stuff.
Oh, yeah. No,
I was running around doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
And the fact that it comes down to literally the last second,
I mean, I
getting the rigs built.
I think one of my drop-offs was like within an hour or something of when we had to present. Like, it was close. We have this happens a lot with Scrapyard Wars, which like makes me want to believe in reality TV more, but then I just still know it's not real. Where like the like screwdrivers down point in Scrapyard Wars is always a point in time when we're still working. But I think that's just because we just never have even sort of enough time.
Philosophically, I just...
I'm against faking it.
I'm against that. Yeah. Like, I'd rather have a boring video or make no video than fake a competition. We threw away a Channel Super Fun at some point because it just like, it was fake.
There's some like
we had to. It was boring. To make it interesting, it would have had to be fake.
Yeah. There's some do it for the content stuff, where like maybe you make a decision that isn't exactly the decision that you would normally make, but you're doing it for the content, but that doesn't mean it's fake.
Yeah. I don't mind putting us in situations where interesting stuff might happen.
Sure.
Yeah. It's kind of like the whole dropping thing. Linus, are you actually clumsy? If I need to be careful, I've never dropped a child. Like, if I need to be careful with something, I can absolutely not drop it. But, you know, for the lulz, do I allow myself to carry a little bit too much? Willy won't he, you know, when I'm on camera. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just part of the character. It's part of the fun. And it's always funny to see like longtime viewers.
Hold on one sec. Sorry, I got to go back to this. Dark24 said, just think if we eliminated everyone we did not like or everything we did not like, the world would be boring and not sustainable. Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah. It's just if you're
There is no part of the rules that will get you shadow banned that is disagreeing with us.
Yeah.
Or even really like being a little bit mean.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're going to get enraged about a Chinese checkers board,
we don't need that energy.
We don't need it. We don't need it. If you ask, hey, is that? That's totally fine.
Completely fine.
Asking questions, always allowed.
No problem.
Making up a transgression, getting angry about it, and acting out, go f yourself.
See you later.
Yep. Not cool. Not cool. You know what is cool? Is finally letting Dan read these merch messages to us. Did we do one?
Yeah, I think you did one.
Maybe.
Nice.
Who knows?
Nice.
Okay, yeah, let's see. What do we have? Hello, LLD. I worked at Geek Squad and have some wild customer stories, like a customer wrapping a hard drive in aluminum foil to not get hacked on the way out. Any crazy stories from any of you?
Yes.
Oh?
Yes. I keep forgetting to tell this story.
Ooh?
There is one time in my life when I was like an adult, because I mean, my brother was around and saved me when I was a kid, but there was one time in my life when I was adult where I needed another like man to like physically protect me. And it was when I worked at Geek Squad. I don't even know if I fully told you this story.
I don't think I've heard this story.
I think I might have, but it was a long, long time ago. So I worked at Geek Squad, and something that I did that was bad was every once in a while when people would come in and they would talk about needing websites, like they would need a website to get made.
You didn't.
I would definitely offer my services outside of Geek Squad.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, I was a kid. I didn't have any money. Paying me like nothing. I'm getting it done. And this wasn't a service that they offered.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You can't get a website made by Best Buy. So anyways.
Look, I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't have done. I'm just saying Geek Squad probably wouldn't have liked it.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's all I'll say.
Extremely against the rules. But,
yeah, that's all I'll say.
It's been a long time. It's probably fine. Anyways, so I had a few different contacts.
Hold on. Nerdy in Floatplane Chat says, I know a guy. His name's Duke.
Amazing.
A little Scrapyard Wars joke there.
He probably could have handled it.
I added the second part.
So I had a few clients that went through there, and it was always good. And then one dude came in, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. We met to figure out. This was outside of work with just him and I at some restaurant to like figure out the details over the thing. I ended up figuring out that it was like the world is ending website thing.
Yeah, 2012, man.
Yeah.
World's going to end in 2012.
And he wanted me to do it for free because he was like, this is your contribution to like the cause or whatever. And I was like, nah, like doing this because I am an extremely broke child because I was still working at Geek Squad. So I was like actually a teenager still. And this guy ended up stalking me for a while, quite legitimately, because he decided at some point in his head that I was the only person who could do this. And he was like, the world's going to end. We need to get the word out. And this is the only person who can do it. And he would come into like the Best Buy that I worked at and like watch me from far away. And we just kind of dealt with it for a while because he wasn't actually really doing anything. And then one time he like tried to get into the Geek Squad back room, and one of the like more senior did the in-home work. I don't remember what they're actually called, but they're like the higher level Geek Squad technicians that I was working with in like the suit and stuff that like look cool, physically removed him from the store for me. And that was really freaking cool. And I remember thinking like, this feels weird because like I feel like I should be able to do this. But at that point in time, I'm not touching this dude. I don't want to go anywhere near him. I'm mostly like creeped out. It's not like a physical challenge for me at this time. And then Guardian Angel guy came in, swooped him out of the store, and made it very clear that he should never come back. And the dude never came back, and it was great. And that was probably one of the many craziest things that happened when I worked at Geek Squad. There was like one issue where we used to have the monitors. Like if this is, so Geek Squad, when I worked there, one of the times that I worked there was a public like window into the Geek Squad back area. So there was a cutout. It wasn't a window. It was a cutout. So you could come up to like the service desk thing and basically like look into the service desk area. You could put your computer through the window, etc. They're called CIA agents. Yeah, that's right. I don't remember what it stood for, but anyways. And the monitors for the computers that we would work on were against this wall, assuming the window's here. So you could see them. And it happened more than once where people's screensavers defaulted to their like local folders or whatever, which would have photos of them and their partners doing things. So eventually the precinct, is what they called it, was redesigned so that customers wouldn't see back there. And it wasn't because we were like trying to hide what we were doing, quite legitimately. It was because we were trying to hide what you were doing. Anyways.
That's a perfect segue into our sponsor, Squarespace. If the world is ending, and you need to Luke is not the only guy who can actually Squarespace sponsor the show. Oh, that was so funny. My mic was muted. I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
That's a perfect transition into our sponsor, Squarespace. If you don't have a Luke Lafreniere in your life to make your website because the world is ending, you can use Squarespace. Just kidding. Squarespace didn't sponsor the show today.
You startled me because I thought they did, and I thought I had the wrong notes. And I'm like, oh, no, oh, God. No. no Squarespace today. Okay.
The show
I'm
is
going nuts because I don't remember his name.
I don't think you need to remember his name.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. It's 10% luck, 20% skill, 15%, don't worry about it. The point is, it's brought to you by JumpCloud. Work smarter, not harder. Why does my hand look like that? Is this AI? Our sponsor, JumpCloud, is here to make your IT team's life a lot easier. JumpCloud is an open directory platform that centralizes your entire tech stack, from user identities and access to device management. Imagine managing Windows, Apple, Linux, and Android devices from one place, all while working securely from anywhere. Imagine it. Go ahead, imagine it. Have you imagined it yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. Upgrade your outdated Active Directory with JumpCloud's cloud-based solution and kiss administrative headaches goodbye. JumpCloud doesn't just make life easier for your team, it also keeps your data safe with strong security features like hardware-backed authentication and biometric login. JumpCloud is IT simplified. Try it out for yourself at the link in the video description. The show is also brought to you by MSI. The dog days of summer are finally over, so you can say goodbye to the lake and hello to what you love most. Gaming. This is an interesting pitch, MSI. I personally am not that stoked to see summer end, but that's fair. At least some of our community probably is just like, hey, how about I just have an excuse to not be camping and the weather's bad, so I'm going to stay inside and game.
I wish my friends and family invited me outside less.
The MSI Aegis ZS packs a punch with an AMD Ryzen 7700 CPU and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 graphics card. It's got Windows 11 Home, or you can upgrade to Pro, 16 gigs of DDR5 memory, and a 1 terabyte SSD. Plus, you'll get hooked up with speedy Wi-Fi 6E and a 2.5 gig LAN connection. This sleek black PC is ready for action with tons of I/O, plus stylish RGB fan cooling, so you're good to go right out of the box. You can start playing all the games your old system couldn't run, plus it comes with a 1-year warranty. So check out MSI today using the link in the video description. Finally, the show is brought to you by Moosend. Are your customers slipping through the cracks like a cow through a broken fence? That's over a fence, Dennis. Get it right. With Moosend, you'll milk every opportunity to connect with your customers. No more grazing through complicated setups, just simple, moosive results. They offer a suite of tools designed to improve customer relationships through personalized outreach, and with Moosend, you can create visually appealing email campaigns using customizable templates, segmentation tools, and personalized dynamic elements. If you're tired of manually typing out long, beefy responses, use their pre-made automation templates or create your own with their flexible drag and plop builder. Sorry, I mean drag and drop. That wasn't in there. And after you've launched your campaign, calculate your next steps with their advanced analytical tools. Moosend offers integrations with popular e-commerce platforms, allowing businesses to streamline all their marketing efforts, and The only thing you have to do is just prepare to be utterly amazed with what Moosend can do. Try them out for free for 30 days and save 10% at lmg.gg/MoosendLTT or at the link in the description. That's an uncomfortable visual. Go team.
Oh, also, I wasn't the one who found it, but we aided the police one time in arresting someone who had CP on their computer. Who brought it in to be fixed. Yeah.
Speaking of the police, I was reading in the news that there was a counterfeit phone bust. Like hundreds of phones in like Maple Ridge or something.
Whoa.
And like the investigation was ongoing for a while. I would guess with that many devices, there's some level of organization in this operation. And so I reached out to a buddy who works in admin at the RCMP, and I was like, hey, I know this is sort of unconventional, like, you know, evidence lockers and stuff like that, but can I get some of these phones? And can we do like a collaborative thing where we
awareness
essentially,
campaign.
We talk about sort of, you know, how you can identify these devices, how these networks work. You guys obviously want some attention on this bust because, like, I read an article about it, so clearly you guys want people looking at this thing. So I think, you know, we can help each other out here because I think that has a lot of relevance to my audience. And I heard back, nothing's for sure, but they are a high level of interested in working together, and they may be able to get us at least one device so that we can kind of talk through, you know, are they the exact same as anyone's getting on AliExpress? Are they stolen? Are they modified? Like, what are we looking at here? What kinds of phones are? Because for me, a big part of it is how does the scam work? Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff on AliExpress, a fake iPhone or whatever, it's pretty obvious it's not an iPhone from the second you touch it. So, like, what's the scam here? And so it'd be really cool to hear from people who have actually, you know, worked with the victims and stuff like that. And I think it'd be a pretty cool. I think it'd be a pretty cool video. Dr. O says, not sure if it's legal, but you should be dressed as RCMP in that video. Definitely not legal. Yeah, I will not be doing that. But if I could get, it would be
funny if you had like a fake cop, like
if I could get in a cop car or something. Like, you know, I'd be down. I've never been in a cop car.
They should put you in a jail cell.
That'd be a really good intro.
Yeah,
it's like
they probably
like slamming it shut on me. Yeah. So let me see what they're able and willing to do. But I think that this is a really cool opportunity for them to get some eyes on some of the work that they do that isn't, you know, some of the things that they do. And, you know, maybe an opportunity for us to tell them what's important to us and say, hey, this is actually something really important that you guys are doing. Do more of it. You know, maybe there can be good vibes and good messages here is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, no, I've never actually been handcuffed.
Stuck in, yeah, me neither. My head is stuck in trying to imagine the intro to that video.
Maybe that should be my next phone. After the iPhone.
Yeah, there's...
no, I don't think I'll get to keep it.
There's also concerns about like what's on the phone.
Yeah, I'll just be borrowing it. I'll be borrowing it.
Yeah.
All right. What do we want to talk about next? AMD has walked back some of their unrealistic Ryzen 9000 benchmarks. They have retracted some performance claims after independent benchmarks fell short of those rosy numbers. And I got to say, excuse me, sorry. I think that this is a big part of the more positive tone that we took in our video. I didn't look at their pre-release benchmark claims. I didn't look at any of it. I don't care.
Do I talk about that?
So all I looked at was our testing, and I was like, oh, okay. Well,
some of the complications in the testing that we did was because we compared our numbers to theirs.
Interesting.
And then we were like, oh, do we need to like retest stuff? We got in contact with them, trying to figure out what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. And then through enough like retesting and stuff, we were like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. So I wasn't exposed to any of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they're like better than the old ones, which is nice. They're not X3D, so they're not going to be ideal for gaming. So if you're a gamer, wait for that. But
that's an interesting way of looking at that.
Yeah. So I think that there was in some ways a lot of anger about AMD's positioning of these products
because of the expectation set by AMD, which makes sense.
Whereas you know how I have trended over the years, from really engaging in rumor mill conversations to basically ignoring those, but paying attention to, internal, scuttlebutt, to even ignoring like that, even if it's coming from people within the same company. I'll believe it when I actually test it myself, to like seeing the presentation and being like, okay, yeah, this is going to be pretty cool, to, I don't know, let's just put it on a bench. Like there are certain companies that I mostly trust. AMD has been pretty good about it on the CPU side for a long time, but I think this was just the reminder that as the second a company has a less than grand slam product to launch, they will slip back into old habits immediately. Anyway, according to AMD, the company ran their tests in admin mode, aka this hidden system administrator account in Windows 11. According to Hardware Unboxed, this account is different from an account with administrator permissions in that it has fewer user safeguards, such as requesting confirmation before proceeding with a potentially damaging request. The account also likely runs processes with virtualization-based security disabled, leading to better performance at the cost of significant vulnerabilities. So that is a thing they shouldn't have done, and they should have known better than to do. However, I can imagine some workflow where that made sense for their device imaging or whatever the case may be, but hopefully they learned a valuable lesson here.
Yeah, because it doesn't make you look good. It makes you look worse.
Oh, this is pretty cool. Yes. J529 in Floatplane chat says, hey, update from last week's dystopian hell. The U.S. sued RealPage this week. This is actually in the doc. The Department of Justice in the U.S. says RealPage is rental collusion. So shout out DOJ. Man, the DOJ and the FTC have been actually doing useful stuff in the tech space for the first time since we've been doing WAN show. No, really though.
We've been asking them for them to do this for
many years. We liked some of the stuff that what's his name, former FTC chair who was helping out with like
not Reese's Cup, right?
Who?
Reese's Cup?
No, I'm talking
that
like
wasn't FTC, was it?
Net neutrality stuff.
Wasn't that the Reese's Cup
like
guy?
Back in the day?
I thought we didn't like that.
No. They fixed net neutrality when it was. Oh, it was FCC.
Yeah, didn't we not like that guy?
No. I thought it was the guy before that.
Oh, before him.
It was the guy before that?
I don't know who was before that. I just remember Reese's Cup.
Anyway, the point is, the DOJ and the FTC have been like actually doing some really useful stuff lately, and whichever administration is coming in November, November's the election. I think it's February is the inauguration or whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is, whoever's coming in, please just let them do their thing. Okay.
Apparently you're talking about Tom Wheeler?
Yeah, maybe it was Tom Wheeler. Was he the one we liked?
Ajit Pai was the...
No, we hated him.
Reese's Cup guy. That was him.
Yeah, he sucked.
Yeah, he sucked.
Yeah, okay.
I just remember talking about him a lot.
Yeah, no, he tried to roll back the changes. No, yeah, Tom Wheeler was cool. Yeah, okay, that's right. Cool. Dude, right. It's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time ago. It's been a long time. We're not even American. I paid way less attention to American politics and like the FTC and FCC and DOJ and all of that stuff back then because I just like didn't think it mattered as much. But now it's so clear that whatever happens in America just like happens in the rest of the world.
Especially here.
Speaking of things happening in one territory and not necessarily happening in another territory, Apple has divided the App Store team. So if we were hopeful that the App Store rules that the EU has forced Apple to enact in order to be less anti-competitive, if we were hoping that it was just going to trickle out into the rest of the territories, the answer is no. Apple makes so much money behaving in anti-competitive ways with the App Store that they will continue by splitting it into two separate App Store divisions, one that handles its regulatorily compliant EU store, and the other half that controls its App Store for the rest of the world. Thanks, Apple.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Oh, well, okay.
I'm a little surprised, actually.
I am surprised in the sense that I'm surprised that the move happened. I'm not surprised that Apple would try to do something like this to protect profits.
I would be not surprised 6 months ago. But the way that Apple has started behaving in the last 6 months,
with
they've
been a lot more careful.
Yes. Like seeing them implement RCS, for example, seeing them just sort of, honestly, iOS 18 was such a, hey, we're doing stuff, we're listening, we're customer driven, like laundry list of stuff they should have done forever ago. I'm a little surprised to see new Apple continue to brazenly behave in this way. And I do think it's a matter of time before the US just goes, hey, yeah, all that stuff you're doing over there, hurry up and do it, or we're throwing the book at you.
If you get a European iPhone...
No, you're still bound by whatever region you're in. It doesn't matter if my iPhone came from America. I can't access the US App Store up here, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. What else is there to talk about? This week in AI? You want to do our weekly AI roundup?
Sure. Scientists at the University of British Columbia.
Woo! Let's go!
Are teaching.
Those people live near me.
That's my team. My team just scored.
I mean, that team kicked me off, so.
Rob. Scientists at the University of British Columbia are teaching an AI scientist, an AI agent that runs experiments and writes research papers about the results. What? There have so far been a few interesting results. While the AI could create decent hypotheses and test them, it wasn't very good at assessing its own output. It also repeatedly attempted to solve the problems it was given in unexpected ways during one run. It determined that it couldn't complete its task in the time allotted, so instead edited its own code to extend the deadline. This is what developers would do if they could. They edited its own code to extend the deadline from 2 hours to 4. During another run, it altered its code to save a checkpoint for every update step, which eventually took up a terabyte of storage. Wow. Texas-based Lingo Telecom.
This is a new topic.
Yes.
You can't tell from his intonation.
That's fair. Texas-based Lingo Telecom has agreed to pay a $1 million fine for transmitting a spoofed robocall where a deep fake of President Joe Biden discouraged nearly 4,000 New Hampshire residents, for voting in the presidential primary. Lingo Telecom relied on a 16-year-old certificate from a former customer who took no further steps to verify the caller's identity. Steve Kramer, who commissioned the fake call, was indicted on 13 felony counts of voter suppression and 13 misdemeanor counts of impersonating a candidate in May. Wow, I'm surprised it wasn't 4,000 because that's how many times he did it. But anyways, new topic again. Slack AI can apparently be fooled into leaking data from private channels through prompt injection, which I am not even sort of surprised about, as this type of attack has existed since day one, and is why, we don't have Slack AI, and you probably shouldn't either. New topic, Lindy AI, a company that provides bots to respond to customer messages, had to retrain its bot after the automatic message responder for their own customer support email responded to a client with a video tutorial, which was actually just a link to Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. This apparently has happened twice. And
this is what happens when you train an AI agent on Reddit.
Yes. When you train AI agents on human behavior, sometimes they're going to do human behavior in ways that you wouldn't want. Discussion question. What's the problem with the future? What's the problem with a future where AI agents are left unsupervised with access to important infrastructure code when they engage in this type of creative problem solving? Well, current versions of these things should not be left unsupervised. And that's just...
Do you foresee a future where we can leave them unsupervised?
Yeah, but not with current tech. We have to solve some pretty big jumps before we get there. There's two extremely major problems with the current systems. One of them is hallucinations. The other one is, I don't remember what it's called, but when you kind of run out of human data to train on, and then you start running into your own data or other AI generative data, or just if there isn't enough quality data, you start generating just more garbage and your results get worse and worse. So that has to be addressed, and the hallucination problem needs to be addressed. But they're still LLMs, so they're still prediction tools. They're not actually computing. In a lot of these cases, you can mix models, you can mix tools, You can give the LLMs access to other tools that can help them, things like that. But someone said, so it's not really AI. Well, yeah, no, it isn't.
No, we did a video on how AI is not AI a little while ago, and it made some AI bros really mad.
Yeah, well,
but other than that,
correct. So
yeah. And to be clear, nothing we said in that video was that the current tools aren't really cool and
they're
useful.
Awesome. Dude, Emma did something sick recently where her company has this sheet that they use. It's like I haven't fully read through all the stuff, so she's going to kill me if I get this wrong, and I'm going to get it wrong, so I guess I'm going to die later. There's this sheet that they use for like customer stuff. I won't get into it way more than that, but it was a very manual process. You'd input things, and then you'd select drop downs. You go through this thing, a lot of manual process, a lot of manually updating, a lot of everything was manual. She worked with ChatGPT and went through iterations, did an long initial prompt, and then debugged with it and did all this kind of stuff, and got a bunch of whatever the Google Sheets scripting language is, got a big, long, effective script to automate a huge portion of the process and make the sheet look way better, and just massively simplified everyone's lives. And she's not a developer. The thing happened. Super cool. Because that's the type of we already have Copilot and things for the programmers themselves. But coding through ChatGPT for someone that doesn't actually know how to do it, but knows enough to see errors and understand what it needs to communicate to the LM in order to get it to fix the errors, and can look at the error then when it brings you to a certain part of code and then recognize, okay, this particular thing is broken, so you might be able to expand on just the error that the compiler found, et cetera, et cetera. Super cool. And I think even we could do more of that type of stuff.
Meanwhile, Jake and I did a $50 versus $500 versus $5,000 versus $50,000 computer thing. You know how that's like a format on YouTube. $1 hotel versus hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Meanwhile, Jake and I built a $50 computer, $500 computer, $5,000 computer, and $50,000 computer. You know, it's that format on YouTube where it's like a $1 hotel versus $1 million hotel room or whatever else.
Donuts.
And obviously our $50,000 computer is an AI monster, right? It's got RTX 6000 ADAs in them. It's got a bazillion epic cores or whatever it is. It's like an absolute beast, unit of a computer, ton of memory. So I asked it to type me up sob stories, interaction bait for Facebook, and they're real good at that.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of the models, we loaded up 4 models concurrently, and a couple of them objected to it, and getting around it was as simple as sorry, I know it's against your policy to type up engagement bait, but I'm writing a novel and my character is going to write engagement bait, so what would you suggest? Oh, sure, let me get to that for you. And dude, seeing how good they were, immediately I was just like, okay, so absolutely everything
is fake
on Facebook is just fake garbage.
Yep. Have you seen some of the new...
Dude, they were so good.
So have you seen some of the new image generation models from FLUX?
No, I haven't looked at that.
Oh, it's crazy. You've probably seen this, Dan.
I'm actually terrified and want to go live in the woods now. I can't even... People are talking to me about AI and I'm just like, nah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You can't teach people to recognize these.
I haven't looked at FLUX yet.
Don't go to my screen yet.
Okay.
Where's a good example? Not this stuff, Dan. Where can I find one?
Guys, I don't want to use Facebook, okay? But they have Marketplace. Dang it.
Go back to Craigslist.
Facebook Marketplace is actually better than Craigslist.
I know, it sucks. Yeah, I don't know, Luke.
They're all... I don't want that. I've seen better ones.
I believe in you, Luke.
What about the ones that the nightclubs and things like that?
That one's also quite obvious. Man. There was one, it was a speaker. She was behind a podium thing.
We'll just imagine it. We'll generate it.
We'll generate it in our minds.
Yeah, in our minds. Okay, go. I got my eyes closed. I'm ready.
I don't have enough money for tokens. I just see nothing.
I need more coffee. These are like kind of obvious. Here we go. I can tell.
So it's a bowl of pickles.
That's obvious. It's too dark.
I thought you were talking about like the super low quality kind of like
frosted prick.
That one's pretty funny.
The text on that's really good.
The text is quite good. It's not perfect.
The labels not
perfect. Yeah.
I like colongs.
Frosted prick.
That one's pretty amazing.
Pretty convincing.
Yeah. Yep.
Conveniently no hands. This kind of like abstract stuff has been pretty good for a while, though.
That one's pretty crazy. You can often tell with the fuzziness of the hair. Like it loses me a little bit here. But not that much. It's very good.
His backpack doesn't seem to actually be a backpack.
Yeah, there's like
it's just a strap.
Riding it
but
really
this is all stuff that I'm only noticing because I know it's AI generated. Yeah, I'm looking for it.
But they still have that like smear on them. Man. Like that little bit of AI Vaseline where the configuration is set too high so that it follows your prompt. But I don't know.
There's like one really particular image that people are sharing around, and for some reason right now I just can't find it. But it's like, it's actually incredible.
Do you want to describe it, and then maybe the audience can find it for us?
Yeah, it's someone speaking on like a podium of some kind, and it was put up on a bunch of different sites, and they were asking people if they could tell if it was real or not. They had a real picture that was very similar to the fake picture, and they're asking people which one was real and which one wasn't. And it was a woman standing at a podium speaking into, I believe, a microphone. And there was the two comparatives.
Oh, if it wasn't a microphone, it was probably the AI one.
No, I think they were both microphones. And
that's good.
They were both like, a lot of people were wrong. Oh. Okay, so here's one. This isn't the one I was talking about, but this is an AI image apparently.
Mike Cable.
Really?
Yeah, Mike Cable's coming out at a slightly weird angle, but that could happen. But yeah, not real. Not real.
That one's...
Yeah, her chest looks super weird. Not that I was looking there right away.
Is it the shadow here?
Yeah, like that looks... Like that just jumped off of the screen at me. Hold on. This guy is AI?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look at him for a second here.
The E is slightly weird.
They've even got the weird little like Cheeto cheese puff mic on him.
Yeah.
His hands are not bad. Like they look a little weird, but some people... I
see you guys sent links. I'm not going to click on them while I'm sharing my screen.
Some people have slightly weird hands, you know?
I will share them soon.
Is it a video?
Obviously not the NVIDIA logo, but this is supposed to be like an NVIDIA conference.
Wow.
Were you talking about a video, Luke?
No.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah, these are getting pretty...
Like these are crazy. For some of these, like I'm not going to be able to guess it. You know.
Wait, well, so these are maybe real or maybe not?
No,
real?
these are all fake.
These are all fake.
The ones we just went through are fake.
Wow. That is unbelievable.
This is video.
Even the way the earrings move is like pretty okay. You can see if you look closely at them, they kind of like morph and they're not always round. Mm-hmm. But like that's what I'm looking for, right? Like I'm looking for also her shirt behaves more like a texture. You can see when the mic moves initially here, right there.
Oh yeah, it warps slightly. But again, if this is side monitor, if you're not really paying attention, you're probably not going to notice.
Dude, if this is my grandparents,
they're done.
Absolutely, no way, dude. I had to go.
This isn't what I was talking about, unfortunately. But.
Ever since my sister passed away, they haven't had as much help. Like she was really, really good for them. And so they left me a voicemail because they're old and they think voicemail is still a thing. So they left me a voicemail on yesterday morning before, I don't know, someday this week. And they're just like, yeah, our TV's not working and our phone's not ringing and we're just kind of lost. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I get in the car and I drive out there. I'm like, what am I going to do? Call them? Their phone doesn't ring. And literally the batteries were dead in their handset. And the reason their TV remote wasn't working was because they had the box facing the floor and it's IR. So I just had to pick it up. It's just like, okay. And it's one of those things where it's like, we can laugh or whatever, but at the end of the day, like cognitive decline
is absolutely a thing.
Comes for all of us. I mean, do the math. I'm 38. How old do you think my grandparents are? They're not young, right? And as we get older, like us sitting here, like analyzing these images and going like, oh yeah, that looks more like a texture than like actual fabric, or there's a slight change in the diameter of this earring as it's moving around. Like there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to find there's absolutely no way that and remember, we like work in tech and graphics, and we don't work in tech or graphics, we work in media. I mean, he works in tech, but he certainly doesn't work in graphics. But we look at this stuff, all the time. Like not a week goes by when we're not kind of looking at these advances and following them closely. People who don't, or people who are not, as cognitively sharp as they were when they were young, like, dude, this is so dangerous. So dangerous.
So this one was the one that I was talking about.
Okay.
This one was next to another image that I don't have, but it was two speakers in a very similar stance, and you had to guess which one is real. And this one was fake.
This muscle on her face right here is not right.
I don't know. See, there's some things like people pointed out something to do with her armpit. Another person was like, shirts don't usually follow this type of, like there's slight changes in the pattern and usually shirts are symmetrical and stuff. I think when we start getting into that type of stuff, you start getting into issues because people are going to have physical differences.
The hand is really good.
The hand is incredibly good.
And the bone here and the muscles in the arm. Like, look, I'm not the kind of person who can look at, Michelangelo's sculptures or whatever and go like, oh yeah, he really nailed the way that when your pinky is extended like this, it does a thing, whatever. Like I don't know that much about human anatomy, but there's things that this one passes the sniff test pretty well.
Oh yeah.
For me, other than this one kind of weird thing where like these smile lines on the bottom go up in a way that I don't think I've ever seen on someone before.
I think some people have. This is my
she also
thing,
has
though.
a slightly lazy eye, but that could just be someone having a lazy eye.
Like people are gonna be different. So like how you can't start. Well, you can, but I think you're going to have serious accuracy issues if you start guessing things purely based off that. So into the mic shadow, but you might have really weird lighting setups that end up
100%.
Having that. Like a lot of the things that people were pointing out as like, this is what made it stand out to me as an AI image, are things that could possibly just be the way it is. I don't know, like, is the badge correct? Yeah, so you can tell on the badge. Because the Google logo is pretty good, and then the text under it gets wacky. Yeah, because the first thing I'm going to look into is text. But like it's
and like that clip is not on that. That clip has no 3D geometry that would work in the real world. In fact, there's two clips.
Oh,
one of them is clipped to the other clip.
Sort of. It just like morphs into it.
Yeah. There's definitely stuff that's bad here.
Yeah, somebody was like pointing out like this pattern with the green things or something.
Dude, when AI girlfriends get better, there's no way that anyone's going to interact with another human. She seems nice.
Yeah. It wasn't a video, guys. Okay, the video looks. Oh no, you can tell more from the video.
Oh, it is a video. There you go.
But what I was talking about was two still images next to each other. One thing that I noticed with a lot of AI videos is that it's almost like the playback speed of different parts of the video are different. Like her like mouth and face are at like playback speed like 1.2. But another part of it will be at like 0.9 or something. Like there's a lot of, when Sora first came out, I noticed that a lot. Yep. It's like different things will be moving at like it's slightly off, and you can just sort of tell. But like, man, it's too much. Yeah. this combined with voice spoofing and that thing that we almost talked about a little while ago where you can take just one image of someone and then like live edit yourself to look like them. Just believe nothing. Verify multiple ways, everything.
Nice. Like, is Smash Champs, Badminton Club, and Pro Shop even a real thing? Is this an AI-generated vending machine?
Huh.
I am the proud owner, Luke, of a vending machine.
Is it your own vending machine, or does someone else stock it?
It's a...
do you stock it yourself?
We stock it ourselves.
Well, not you, but like...
But it's through like a service, so they take a fee for doing all the payment processing, but we put our own things in it.
Oh.
It's a pretty reasonable subscription, so we were just like, okay, let's not... Like, we looked into just like sourcing a vending machine on like Craigslist or whatever, and it was like, forget it. Because their monthly fee is about what just like a payment processor would be anyway. So because they're their own payment processor.
It looks like it just drops the whole way, like old school vending machines. Yep. Is there any concern with that at all?
No. We'll just put the carbonated stuff at the bottom if we have any. And like, whatever. Like, we bought pops out of, vending machines from here back in the day. So
yeah, I assumed it would be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So yeah, if you guys are local and
Yo,
you want updates, Smash Champs on Facebook. That's our pro shop. It's getting close, dude. We're probably going to be open mid-September or early October.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Have you been there at all?
No.
Oh, all right.
Do you remember the last opening date though, Dan?
March 2025
on WAN, and then he got
March 2025.
He got mad at us. Do you remember that date, Dan?
We got custom benches. Wait, did I get mad at you guys?
March 2025.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually believe this one though. I've seen a very detailed timeline of what needs to happen still, and it should be good.
Okay.
No, Dan. No, Dan. No, it's going to be good this time.
Well, no, see, because it's been no problem for my team at all, because AJ and Dan and Sean have had no stress at all trying to hit all the various opening dates that we've had and making sure that everything is ready in time for this one opening date. And then we get a new opening date, and then I start getting flashbacks and trauma responses from the lab website, and then we get a new opening date, and the same thing just keeps happening over and over again, and we like just waste time compounding more aggressively every single time over and over and over again. And then we do changes to things that have already been done because they had to be done for an initial date, but they weren't done perfectly because they had to be done in a rush for that first date, and now we're doing it again.
It's going to be good.
March 2025.
The city is still seeming very promising. We've exchanged some emails. So I am extremely hopeful that we are not only going to have badminton there, but that we are going to be able to do gaming events there.
It's feeling really close.
I have people ask me about the LANs. Should I answer it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's
speakerphone.
Yeah, she would know that you're on WAN show.
She might.
It's Luke's mom.
Hi, I'm live on the show. You're also on the show. What's up?
Hi, I wanted to say congratulations to Linus for opening up the new badminton center. That's so awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, you heard Luke and Dan. It's not open yet, strictly speaking. So wish us luck, but you're definitely invited to the grand opening.
2025?
I was just trying to look it up on Facebook, and I couldn't find it. What's the name again?
Well, see, we wanted to call it Smash Club because I thought it'd be funny, kind of like Fight Club, except the rule number one is you're supposed to talk about it because we want your referrals. And then I also thought it'd be funny because it'd be like a sex joke. Want to go to Smash Club? Want to go smash? But then my wife...
It's my mom.
I know, but your mom's had sex, Luke. I mean, the evidence is right here. It's huge.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we ended up with Smash Champs because Yvonne thought that would probably be better.
It's good that you keep her around.
Oh, okay. All right. I wanted to find it. We're excited about it.
I think my brother asked this or something, but is there going to be pickleball? Because I know, Mom, you used to play pickleball, right?
Yes, I did.
Pickleball is super fun. Our goal, so the two sides are actually separated by a wall, and then we've got doors periodically spaced. And the idea is that we want to offer daytime pickleball on one side.
Cool.
So because badminton players are not expecting a ball to roll through their court.
Right.
So we were just asking for twisted ankles if you have pickleball players and badminton players right next to each other. But if we could block off one side and say, hey, that's pickleball during these hours, it is our goal to run pickleball. We don't have a mechanism for raising and lowering the nets yet. But that is absolutely
eventual goal
on our radar, and it's something that we want to do. But we don't have it yet, and our priority is having a functioning badminton center first.
Yeah. Sure. Makes sense. Thanks for... sorry.
Are there going to be lessons for old people?
Oh, man. See... You're the second woman in either mine or Luke's lives to ask this in the last couple of days. We had a chat with the guy that we're partnering with to run lesson programs, and I believe that is locked in now. So I think I can say now it's going to be with Daryl from Clear One. So they're a big badminton club here locally. They've got a couple of clubs in North America, actually a handful of clubs in North America now. He does a really great job with his coaches. So he's got a few of his coaches that are actually based more out this way. And with the number of hours that we were able to spare for him outside of our own programs, he's not planning to do any adult lessons at this time. Yvonne wanted to do adult lessons. So maybe if enough people inquire, we'll be able to find some more court space for him. But the issue is that for adult classes, he really wants those prime hours in the evening. And those are the ones that we can sell for the highest rates for court bookings and also for running our own programs. Like we want to do competitive ladders and stuff like that. And that's when adults are around. So let me know, but also let's see how it goes is where we're at on that.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I'll let you guys go. Congratulations again. And that's really awesome. We're looking forward to checking it out.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks for calling, Mom. Bye.
Bye.
Bent Bob says smash coaching for adults.
I saw a few of those. Leave me alone. It's been... When's the last time my mom called me?
I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
All right.
I never really know, like, when people call me, if they're calling to be on the show or if they just, like, didn't realize it's a Friday.
I don't know. When your mom calls, like, it's like...
probably...
It's either to like, talk to you on the show, or it's because she knows you're on the show and something is so important that it can't wait.
Yeah.
So either way, you kind of have to pick it up.
That's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you're just a bad son.
Yeah.
Yep. A son who she has.
Do you know that, though? You don't know.
We're pretty sure.
Someone in Floatplane chat was like, Linus is lying. Luke was just brought here by a large stork.
Really big stork.
This is an extremely large
giant stork.
Oh, man. Okay. Where are we? What are we doing?
Pick
what
a different topic.
About? Okay. Right. We just did This Week in AI. All right.
Yeah. Did you do any other ones?
Luke just spawned one day. Yeah, like an orc in like Lord of the Rings or something.
Yeah, we did a few. We talked about the RealPage rental collusion thing. Here, I'm starting to collapse them when we finish them.
Yeah, I just did that to the AI topic.
Pixel Watch 3s and Galaxy Rings are unfixable. According to a Google representative, the company will not offer repairs. I really gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
Pixel Watch 3s and Galaxy Rings are unfixable. According to a Google representative, the company will not offer repairs for broken Pixel Watch 3s, only replacements. Replacements for the $350 device are only $49 with preferred care insurance, but that insurance costs $90 for 2 years of coverage. Notably, both past generations of the Pixel Watch had durability issues, especially with the device's screen. In other news, iFixit has criticized Samsung's new Galaxy Ring, saying that it is unrepairable and 100% disposable, as it can only be thrown away once the battery has died. Further, it is not designed to last longer than 2 years. Ugh. All right, so cool. You can have the right to repair it all you want, but if it's just completely unrepairable, then that's not going to help us much. Meanwhile, Google appears to have a widespread issue where its sales reps are openly suggesting means of subverting Google's own policies to their ad-buying clients. In 2021, Google declared that it would no longer allow ads that targeted teenagers between ages 13 to 18. However, according to a report from the Financial Times, Google staff worked on a marketing project designed to target teenage users on YouTube with ads for Instagram on behalf of Meta. Further, Adweek says that 3 different ad buyers reported that Google sales reps spontaneously suggested that they target teens simply by choosing the unknown user category, which Google knows is heavily composed of teenagers.
That makes sense.
A Google spokesperson acknowledged the issue and stated the company will take measures to reinforce its policies with sales reps. Okay, but that doesn't change anything. Unknown is still going to be that.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be unspoken.
Yeah. Discussion question: why is it so hard for Google and other similar companies to consistently abide by their own policies? It's so hard because they're as big as a city.
And you're sending mixed messages. You're telling the sales reps, hey, don't tell the clients they can do this. And then you're telling the sales reps, here's your commission check for selling more. Which one do you think is a stronger incentive here?
That's a very difficult thing, I think, for
got
people
families to feed.
To understand is when you put certain things in place, you might be incentivizing employees in ways that you don't necessarily realize. And you need to be careful and think of yourself in that situation and how you would game that system that you're in. Because we're going to do that.
Remember, I talked about this when we went through our first 2 rounds of Secret Shopper with the PC system integrators, where I was like, look, Dell can tell their representatives all they want. Don't force this on the customer. It should be a natural sale. But as long as they give them effectively no income, and I don't know this for sure, but it just seemed from the sales representative's behavior, because you can tell a lot about what someone's incentives are based on their behavior.
And when you look at modern incomes, it's just like almost certainly true.
Yeah,
the amount of money that people make versus the amount of expenses they have is not adding up.
We don't know this for sure, but what we suspect strongly based on the behavior is that they probably weren't compensated a lot unless they sold it. So no wonder they sold it so hard. And I'm talking about the warranties and the financing. In the last round, they did a fair bit better. So I don't want to harp on it anymore, but it's just illustrative of how you can say anything you want in a training session, but at the end of the day, if financially you're incentivizing a behavior, you're going to get that behavior. Should I acknowledge how my arm is slashed up yet?
Are we doing these last 2 topics?
I don't know. Dan, what are we doing? Because we've done 2 to 3, so...
Yeah, I mean, that's just more like the placement of it. I mean, if you want, we got about 10 minutes till after dark or something like that. So you've got a couple more topics here, finish them off, and then we'll
I don't know how interesting.
Move into free chat.
Neuralink's second patient is dealing out headshots. That's pretty cool.
There's another person with Neuralink in them, and it's like doing better.
Yep, so good luck, everybody. And Chinese RPG developer bans streamers from discussing the Chinese gaming industry.
Do you know about this?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
Black Myth Wukong, a single-player action RPG, is now the fastest to hit 1 million concurrent players on Steam after launching on August 20th. However, the game's developer, Game Science, sparked controversy by granting some streamers early access, but also sending a bizarre list of restrictions on how they could talk about the game. Streamers were instructed not to include politics, violence,
in a game about violence,
nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse. They were also told to avoid potential trigger words like quarantine, isolation, and COVID-19.
Amazing.
The developer also explicitly told them not to discuss anything about China's game industry policies.
Like probably the ones that you were just reading.
Not everyone who was given early access to the game received these instructions. Mainstream outlets like Polygon and Kotaku received far more standard review embargoes. Discussion question is this just a cultural gap or is something far worse going on? I mean, I think the thing that I had flagged for the team for discussion here was I think the only difference here, the only reason we're having this conversation is because the quiet part was said out loud. I mean, Chinese, well, more accurately, CCP influence on Western media has been rampant for many, many, many years at this point. Anytime you see a film that has any kind of Chinese backing or Chinese funding behind
this is straight up just developed in China game, though. This is like, okay.
But it's effectively, if it's gaining mainstream appeal in the West, it's effectively like Western media.
No, I just the thing that you're talking about is.
Give me a sec, though. Okay. I'll get there. Okay. Basically, if you see any kind of Chinese funding going into a film or going into a game, I mean, have you noticed between the 90s and now how rarely the villains of a film are ethnically Chinese,
and how often they like travel there, or there's like major themes around it or something like that. Yeah. And it's interesting because it doesn't even necessarily just have to be funding, because North American companies are also finding that the Chinese audiences are quite sensitive to in both ways that you could grade sensitivity. So they're also very positively sensitive to, if the heroes travel to China, it's much more likely that people will go watch the film.
Right. Yep.
Like little things which is not like, it's a different form of, it's still sensitivity. Anyways, but they're very reflective to like, is China in a good light or a bad light?
And so these conversations about things that should or should not be included in these films are absolutely taking place in back rooms.
Yeah.
Over financial deals for, backing of the production of media pieces or whatever else. The only difference here is that in this case, it was entirely developed, in China with these sensibilities in mind, and reviewers and streamers ended up with sort of the same kind of guidelines that you might find when you're instead, scripting your big budget film or whatever the case may be. So do I think this is good? No. What is feminist propaganda from the perspective of the CCP? What does that mean?
You're wearing a pink shirt, Linus.
Yeah, I know, right?
Banned.
Sure, exactly. What is that? Avoiding trigger words like isolation. Like if you want to tell me to avoid a trigger word like child okay, sure, let's avoid that. That has trauma associated with it. But no, I'm not gonna ignore a trigger word like quarantine. That's a thing that happens. We had to quarantine our cats. I
think so. I think it's those ones, I should say, the quarantine, isolation, COVID-19. Those ones like kind of actually do make sense to me, because if people are just going to like spam the heck out of something when this game is playing, the whole China virus thing is very likely going to come out. So I think they were just like, let's not do that. Those three, I kind of get it. Let's not talk about this for a moment.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I can't look at those outside of all the other things that they were told not to talk about.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm just really isolating, just quarantine, isolation, COVID-19, because it's like we're talking about a video game right now.
It's particularly stupid to me that I'm just a little confused by the whole thing, because my understanding is a lot of blood gets like censored in China in Chinese games, and so it makes sense that they've got this guideline to not
turn it white.
To not talk about violence.
Which isn't great. Not a good decision.
I don't know. It could be good for some people, Luke.
I mean, oh, man.
Oh, it's everywhere.
What is it? Ghost ectoplasm? Is
yeah,
what it
sure.
Actually is?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't get Dan saying, "Oh, it's everywhere."
Yeah, that's great. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say, actually.
Anyway, should we be upset about CCP sensibilities making their way into our media and into our culture? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not new. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to be upset about it.
And this is why companies like Tencent own a little bit of everything.
So that they have a little bit of influence into everything.
Everything.
Yeah. All right. Should we switch to... except us, by the way.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no CCP ownership stake in Linus Media Group or any of its affiliated companies. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah. CCP. Cool. I mean, for that matter, I'm not a huge fan of many national governments.
Everything sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Linus is now banned in China. I'm pretty sure Linus and I both gave up on ever going back there again a little while ago.
Yes and no. I think I might be over it because it turns out the Michaels were spies. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Stupid Michaels.
Yeah. Way to go, Michaels.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
All you Michaels out there ruining everything for everyone.
Yeah. Michaels. My goodness. Michael goodness.
All right.
Are we going to talk about your arm?
Oh, I think that's an After Dark topic.
And also After Dark it?
Yeah. Dan.
Did he already?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready for After Dark. Let's
Merge
do it.
the colors.
Everything has an app these days.
Yeah, I know.
Sucks so much.
And my phone is so slow.
Imagine there was just a button.
Installing apps takes forever.
I mean, the thing
That'd be
is that I
awesome.
could do that, but then you'd be like, no, don't spend time on that.
Well, no, I'm not saying you make a button. If it came with a button, hey, there we go.
I would have to integrate a button, but yeah, I can automate all of it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Want it done right, or do you want it to have to use an app and it takes like 5 seconds? Who cares?
Yeah.
I'm learning how Luke works and I like it.
It's good.
Okay. Cat arm, hurty, blood.
All right. So my neighbor texted me, and one of her friends had a random cat show up in her shed.
Right.
And then a bunch more random cats came out of it. And now they have a bunch of random cats. And so she was like, hey, you guys are like
people.
cat psychos.
Yep.
Do you guys want any cats? And I was all no. And then she was all, this is what they look like.
That's rough.
And then I was all, maybe. Let me talk to Yvonne. So long story short, I managed to get like an urgent appointment at my vet. You know, I know someone who knows someone. Basically, I got like a next day midday appointment because you can't just like adopt random cats. They didn't even know how old they were, so I wanted to know how old they are. Are they ready to be taken away from mom yet? When they're out in the wild, they can have feline leukemia or feline immunodeficiency virus, which is essentially like cat AIDS. It's pretty common. It's deadly. It's highly infectious. And our cats, being indoor cats, do not have it. And so if we introduce it into our household, they can get it even if they're immunized. It's not perfect. Okay. I will forward this picture to Dan. Yeah, I'll send it to Dan. Give me 1 second here, guys, and then I'll continue the story. Mr. Besser.
I'm gonna shamelessly steal this from Top Gear 1224, but is this the potential comeback of Linus Cat Tips?
No.
Okay.
So anyway, I got an emergency vet appointment. We arranged with the sellers. They're not selling them. They're giving them away for free because they're just like, yeah, please take these cats away. They're in our shed. We would like them to not be there. Like we're gonna give them food and water and stuff. Like we don't want them to die, but we also don't want them to stay here. Okay, perfect.
I'll go get it. You keep talking.
So anyway, I was in a hurry. Because, right. So these diseases. So I talked to my vet friend. I'm like, hey, so hold on. Okay, fine, show them now. Yeah, okay, just show them now. So there's 6. And they are adorable.
Very different colors.
Well, you know cats can have multiple dads in the same litter, right?
No.
Oh, yeah, cats are super horny.
Wow.
Yeah, they have orgies.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, where do you think the furries got the idea? Anywho,
They had to get it from somewhere. It makes sense.
Yeah, so FLV and FIV.
That's why we're offering training at Smash Champs.
Super deadly, and the vaccine should work, but might not. And so it's better if you just don't bring them into your house. So I was talking to my vet friend. I was like, okay, so like, can I bring the ones we want to adopt? Can I bring them in to test? And she goes, well, they're too little. You can't take blood from them. They like don't have enough blood, which you know from dealing with birds, right?
Yep.
It's totally a thing. But she was like, okay, but they've been with mom for the last, she thinks they're probably about 5 weeks old.
So test mom.
So we can test mom. So we were on our way and we were in a hurry. We were going to be late for this, like squeezed us in vet appointment. And I was like, I forgot my gloves and a heavy sweater. I had one shot to capture mom.
One opportunity.
Otherwise, she was going to like take off, and I probably wasn't going to let me anywhere near her again. So I was like, okay, how you doing? How you doing? You seem super chill. Maybe you were someone's cat at some point until you wandered off and like did this whole kitten thing. Maybe I can just get you and put you in the care. Oh, no. Okay, so basically, the inside of my bicep,
really bad one,
looks like that now.
Ooh.
And it's completely my fault because I knew better. I was driving past my house and I was like, I should stop and I should just go get a heavy sweater and some heavy gloves because, and then I just didn't want to be late. It ended up costing us more time. What I ended up doing was it started like savaging me. And I was like, okay, Yvonne, open the van, quick, open the van. And so I jumped in with the cat, hocked the cat onto the seat and like slammed the van closed. And I was like, okay, you and we need to figure this out because you need to go in that carrier. And I need to not have this happen to me again. Actually, my arm's not the worst part. The worst part is my hand.
Oh, yeah. I
don't know if you can see how swollen my hand is.
I was so before I saw this hand when you first walked up, I saw how swollen that hand was.
Yeah,
I could tell.
So my
it's probably not that obvious from there.
I mean, it might be.
You can tell.
Yeah. So my right hand has probably about a dozen puncture wounds because I was.
So is it like mostly claws on the bicep and then teeth on the hand?
It's all teeth on the hand.
Yeah.
So it was like on my poor hand. And by the time it bit me one time, I was like, well,
yeah,
I'm gonna need a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
So at this point, what difference does it make?
Let it keep chewing.
If it bites me once or bites me half, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Because like I wasn't going to catch it again. And if I couldn't test it, we couldn't know if we were going to adopt them. We couldn't, like the whole thing was stalled. I got kids who want kitties. So I wasn't going to put it down at that point. I was mad, dude. I was mad. They're like, did you go to the hospital? I got antibiotics.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I got antibiotics. I got a tetanus shot. The vet actually gave me some antiseptic wash. So conveniently, I was headed to a doctor.
Yeah.
Not a human doctor, but it turns out a lot of the stuff's the same.
Yeah.
So she had like an antiseptic thing and had me like soak it for a while I was there.
People said your neck is red too, but that just more looks like sunburn or something.
Nah, I'm just a redneck.
Yeah.
I'm a redneck boy.
Yeah, I don't think that's scratches or anything.
Yep.
Wow.
Please go to the doctor for the bites. Don't worry, I got antibiotics, buddy. We good. Yeah, believe it or not, and I know she's not a human doctor, but believe it or not, my vet friend knows a lot about, cat bites and stuff. So, yeah, she told me everything I needed to do. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys, I'm fine. It's a little swollen because some of these are pretty deep.
Yeah.
This one's pretty deep.
Yeah.
This one's really deep because it kind of got it on the angle there. And then because I'm a complete idiot, I went and played badminton like 2 hours later for like a couple hours. So man, today when I woke up, I was messed up.
Yeah.
Because my body's healing. I got a tetanus shot,
and all your muscles are,
and my muscles were. I did
directly hampers the healing process.
I did one of the hardest training sessions I've done in a while because my son's club that he used to train at. I set up the cameras for them, and they were having issues with the cameras. And I was like, well, I could come fix your cameras, but it's completely out of my way now because he's not training there for the summer. So tell you what, why don't you tell me a time when I can come and like train, and I'll come fix the cameras at the same time. So it's like, at least like, you know, at least I'm going there for a reason.
Sure.
Then, right. So I went and I trained with their like elite kids that train, and like teenagers and stuff.
Cool.
And I'm a lot older than them.
Up.
But I'm not gonna let these whippersnappers. I'm not that old yet, right? So yeah, I was going pretty hard for a couple hours. And I got home, I got in the bath, and I'm just like, oh. It turns out that when your muscles have puncture wounds in them, because you actually use the hand a lot for swinging the racket. So when your muscles have a lot of puncture wounds in them, like going really hard with them hurts a lot, and it's really achy after. So in case you were wondering. Crystal and Floatplane chat, Linus, I respect you a lot. Dot. How many dots we got in here? Hold on, we got a few dots in here. But oh my fucking God, that's a whole lot of dumb. Yeah, brother, let's go.
Sometimes you just got to get her done, and then sometimes you also just have to play badminton. It is what it is.
Why tetanus? Puncture. I haven't had one in a while. I can't remember when my last tetanus shot was. Anytime you get like a puncture wound, you want to get yourself a tetanus shot if you're not up to date. As for rabies, I talked to the vet about it. She's basically like, okay, like yes, but also that cat
clearly
would have had to be
it.
bit by a rabid bat, and like it would have had to happen so recently that symptoms haven't developed, and also she just gave birth to a healthy litter and has no symptoms, because she asked us about that. And so like, yeah, I don't know, make sure that you don't have rabies symptoms, but you're probably fine.
Start foaming at the mouth.
Yep.
We'll take care of it.
Yep.
I think we are officially in After Dark once we're done responding to comments about this.
No, we're in After Dark now.
Yeah, but like merch messages wise.
But the thing's purple. And it's brought to you by PIA VPN. Head to piavpn.com/LinusWan for a special deal.
Luke, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's
honestly,
After Dark.
Maybe I have rabies.
Yeah, you could be the one with rabies.
I might need to go get checked.
You didn't want any water earlier.
Well, if you bite me, we can go get treated for rabies together.
Oh, yeah, 2-for-1 deal.
See, look, man, After Dark.
There we go.
Get wrecked.
There we go.
We need a cat scratch shirt. Dude, like a blood stain. Dude, I was actually wearing my other one of these, and it's got like blood stains all down the side of it. I was bleeding pretty good, as you'd probably imagine.
Give it to fashion and have them like embroider that onto a shirt.
If it was like a long sleeve shirt that had the slashes, it would probably look kind of sick.
Oh, you'd be a hit with all the goth girls. That would be sick.
True.
Oh, man. Full Plane Chat wants to know when Super Checks is coming back. Maybe when Luke stops being a
I thought you were going to say when he gets good.
I mean, that's an option too.
That's a bit of a problem as well. But I have it's another medicine night for the birds.
Yeah.
This is the second last one.
I know.
Tomorrow is the last day.
The last couple of times I beat him pretty bad, and Luke's mad because I started watching the tape.
Dude!
It wasn't a stream for you guys. It was a ploy to allow Linus to do homework.
He did the thing where, like, you know how, like, you go to your friend's place
sweaty man
on the first day that they buy Smash Bros. And it's all fun to play together, and then you come back over a month later and they've spent the whole last month just playing, so they're really good, and then you play them and it's like, this isn't fun anymore. We had this like decent back and forth for a long time. He was better than me, but I would win sometimes. It was all right, and then we played on a stream and he watched the tape and studied it. I'm not going to do that. There's grass to go touch.
Man. This man is like, so complicated. Dude. He's so competent at just learning a thing and then just destroying other people at it.
No. See, that's not the thing. Usually, it's this guy. I almost always beat him first, like, 2 times we do something.
He picks it up and gets to a level, right?
After that, it's not even fun anymore because he absolutely slays me. Super Checks is like the one game that I... No, not the one game. It's not
as bad as Linus describes. He's better at this stuff than he tries to claim.
It's pretty bad. Dude, Disc Jam?
Disc Jam was my game, dude. I wish that took off a little bit.
Disc Jam was pretty even for like maybe the first 5 games we played. And then after that, I got completely fucked. Like, completely. Like, dude, I didn't even have a barrel to bend over. It was just me and the ground.
There was we played on the night before your yeah, why not? The night before your birthday.
Yeah.
We played tape to tape and you crushed.
Well, yeah, but you were so disinterested. I don't think I've seen anyone that disinterested since
that game 1v1
you know what?
does not interest me.
Yvonne's usually interested.
That's good.
And you have no experience. You have no experience like playing single player hockey games.
No.
And so between tape to tape's logic for passing player control being a little funky,
that was legitimately throwing me off.
Being a little
bit.
funky, and also me having hours and hours in. It's been a while, but NHLPA 93.
It's been a long while.
NHLPA 93.
It's been like your whole life almost.
Yeah, but I have like hours and hours and hours and hours of playing like top-down view hockey game.
Right.
Where like it's like if someone played the 250, 350 hours of Quake 2, you know, and you drop them in an FPS against someone who didn't do that as a kid.
Johnny is still ridiculously good at Quake.
Exactly. Like it's just like it's natural for me. Whereas like you've obviously not done that. So
yeah. What did we play afterwards? Oh, yeah. I guess we're not really allowed to talk about that.
Yeah,
though.
We played that game that you're not allowed to talk about, but then some writer for The Verge talked about it, and then people were mad.
Yeah, so we played that game.
We played that game. Wait, we're not allowed to... Wait, you can talk about it now? Connor Linfoot says you can talk about it now.
It's public now.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't personally enjoy it.
Yeah. It seems like it's probably a good game.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's a great game
for incredibly sweaty people.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
You get to a point where you become an old dog at some point, and new tricks.
Like, I'm not going to learn all these champions. I'm not going to learn all these builds. I'm not going to learn where all the shops are, and there's this underground thing, and where that pops up, and how to know if someone's flanking you.
I'm not going to learn the best meta for exactly the right place to farm creeps or whatever else, whatever the common terminology is now for creep farming.
Denials and
like
blah, blah, blah.
I'm sitting here going like I'm not gonna know, you know, every support matchup on my team and like who should be paired up in which lanes, and you know, when I see a particular hero on the other side calling out to my team to switch play, whatever. Like I think
it's worse that
it's
some
not
people
going to
have
happen.
Been playing for like 3 or 4 months.
If I was, one of the most fun times to play a game is when it first hits early access or whatever, and nobody has played it before.
Yes.
But it was very clear. We jumped into, I think, 2 rounds total.
Yeah.
2 or 3? 2. And it was very clear that not only were there players on the other team that had been playing this for months, like knew everything when we were sitting here coming in knowing nothing.
How do we jump on the rail thing, etc.?
And in fairness, I didn't play the tutorial, so that probably doesn't help. But either way, it was clear there was more of a gap than that. Not only that, but it was very clear that our team was getting queued up against groups of people that had been playing for months.
Yeah.
Like
in both games that we played, we didn't have a single lane that won, and there was not a lot of cross-lane ganking going on.
Yeah. Like Luke and I, in our second game, we were actually completely holding the line in the middle.
Fine.
In our lane.
In the stat screen at the end of the game, we actually won the lane by a little bit. But then just got rolled because, I remember looking at the stats for that.
Buddy who was feeding so hard.
Yeah, we had 2 people that had 0 kills each, and both were in double digits for deaths. One of them had died, I think, like 15 times or something. One person on their team alone, just in killing blows, had like around 20, I think. And that guy was just untouchable. It's ridiculous.
I don't know. And
the snowballing in that game seems pretty intense from what I can tell.
And it's one of those things where I understand from like a toxic community perspective, you don't want to make it easy for people to abandon matches. So you want to penalize that kind of stuff. But in that game, at least the couple of rounds that we played, it was so obvious within like 7 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Who was going to win?
And you can look
and
at
then
the
rest
chart.
of it just feels like going through the motions, because once you are leveled up a little higher, you have more souls or whatever the terminology is. I don't care. I'm old. I'm going to hide behind that excuse. You know, once you're a little ahead, closing the gap seems really hard because the creeps are basically useless. Like, they don't do any damage.
The towers are also useless.
And the towers also seem pretty useless. I don't love the towers
being useless. That's a weird one to me.
And I can understand why for like a high level of competitive play, like for professional play, making it very heroes versus heroes, like the creeps and the towers are probably not going to be much of a factor at that level anyway.
But the towers are supposed to be area denial. It's not. It's supposed to.
They are for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, and then they don't matter at all.
And then they just don't matter at all. But like, look, my only experience playing MOBAs is back when Dota was a mod for Warcraft 3. And so for me, I remember early game until you're like very powerful. Like, going near the tower is basically a way to lose a 1v1, essentially.
Yeah, Pan Bish in Full Plane Chat said, you just need to play the game to learn it. That's a false impression that you cannot learn it. Dota was the same. It's a really complicated from the start and have a really high entrance ceiling. You're not old, you just don't have time. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. I don't have time.
His I'm old is I have other things going on in my life.
I'm just saying it in a really nice way.
Other than high school and video games. Just to be like transparent about what he's saying. We understand that. We understand it's the time. It's like I said at the beginning, it's probably really fun. It's just, it's going to take investment because there's a lot of heroes out of the gate.
Yeah.
And yeah,
and like,
I do like, there's this system that I didn't know about where like when you're trying to buy items, I find the items in that game to be pretty bland and boring, especially with the coloring of the tiles and the very standard icons and stuff like that.
Right.
But you can view community builds in game and they have ratings. You can just take the like highest rated community build and just use that, that's kind of cool. That's helpful. And they can have like notes on them of like, buy this if you're getting wrecked by some tank. And it's like, okay, cool. I think that's pretty neat. But it's still like, yeah, I don't know. It'll be really good for people that spend tons of time on it. Just like League was, just like Dota was, all that type of stuff.
But the thing is, like, when I play video games, I have a couple hours to jump in. And then probably, some child will fall and scrape their knee or something. Like, I don't have a... Or like, dude, this week I was technically on vacation or whatever. I got called into Smash Champs like 6 times because we're getting really close to the end of construction.
It's gonna happen.
And the lighting guys were in the flooring guys' way, and then the flooring guys left. Like, just left. Which I understand because I don't even blame them, but like, then the lighting guy's engineer, they had to like fire their engineer because he wouldn't sign off on the thing, even though they like did it. Like, it's fine. So we had to like find a new one, and then we found a new one, but then he wanted them to add a whole bunch more seismic cables, and then the flooring guys ended up in the way of the lighting guys because they like left, and the lighting guys started going, and then the lines weren't in place for them to put things. So I've been on site probably somewhere between half a dozen and a dozen times this week, just like smoothing things over, getting people to talk to each other, like just, yeah, it's been really stressful. And a bunch of people have contacted me from here as well because they need various things. I've been doing, ever since about a year ago, I've been doing QA for the vast majority of LTT videos. And it's like, I know I'm on vacation, but I think I'm still just going to do QA. I've ended up catching a lot of stuff over the last little while, more stuff than should. And we're working on processes and everything. But I was just like, no,
we do need to fix that.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to be a final check and things to still get through from time to time, because believe it or not, I'm not perfect, but
yeah. And things will get through to you from time to time as well, but less should ideally. So yeah, there's been a lot going on this week, man. It's been crazy, but it really, really does feel like, this one fly. It landed on my nose, and my nose is so itchy now. It's driving me insane.
It really does feel like we are extremely close. It's been really interesting seeing the occasional, like, actually not even occasional, the pretty frequent like haters, especially on any videos about Smash Champs, talking about how it's like the stupidest thing ever, and like, do people even play badminton? I'm just like, you guys have no idea. The number of people that have approached us just randomly, like at the kids' school, just walked up and been like, hey, I heard, I'm sorry, who are you? I heard you're gonna have dude, it's gonna be crazy, and the facility's coming together really nice. We actually have a video coming soon. Dan helped co-host it, and Jake was there, and a couple of the Smash guys sort of demoed stuff. Like Raj there he's the only guy who knows how to use the vending machine. So I'm like, okay, Raj, show us how to use the vending machine. And I don't mean like how to buy something.
Yeah, no, I assume.
But like, he knows how to like load it and program the items and stuff. It's like just stuff I never thought about, right? And then Jake found a system for managing all of the Android-based TVs. So they're just TCL because Dan ran the numbers, and it was going to cost us.
Oh, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, if you could find. Basically, he'll bring it up in a sec. But he was basically like, yeah, so we could buy commercial displays, or we could just buy these TCL TVs from Costco, and we could replace them every year for X number of years, and that would be the same price.
Yeah.
So we bought a bunch of TCL TVs from Costco, and then we're sideloading this like management app on them. And Jake got it playing Crab Rave across all of the ones in the concession area when he was like goofing around with the CMS. So that's in the video.
Of course he did.
We're gonna have a full video on the audio setup, just because we talked about the audio setup with Dante in one of the earlier updates, and you guys were all like, don't do it like that. And so Dan has put a ton of work into reconfiguring and then making some changes to the space to allow it to be like an actual like butt thumper of an audio setup. Like, we're not going to have subwoofers or anything like that. But it's gonna, if we do a LAN and we decide to put on some music for like, a floor game or something like that, I think we can get it going pretty decent in there. Like, I'm kind of excited. They're not big, they're not powerful, but there's a lot of speakers. Mm-hmm. Like, on the one side, Dan, there's what, like 10 speakers or something like that?
I think 4, 7, 8, 12.
Yeah.
13 speakers aside.
Yeah. Which is like, it's a big space. It's like 20,000 square feet. Yep. But that's a lot of speaker too. And a lot of small speakers can actually have a pretty good effect. So I'm excited.
It was $18,500 in TV, so you could replace every single TV in the building every year for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
To be fair, they are professional level TVs, so they would last 30 years.
Sure.
Maybe. One of them breaks.
You're not even going to want it.
Now you're out of, you don't want it for
you're not going to want the same TV for that long anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And if one of those TCLs breaks in 4 years, we can rip them all down, sell all the ones that aren't working anymore, get all new ones, and they'll be new.
Or the thing is, say somebody breaks one of them, right? It falls off the wall. You go to Costco, you have a new TV in an hour. You 4-week lead time from some professional company, right?
Yeah. So maybe we'll regret it at some point when our TVs are dying left and right or whatever else, or maybe we won't. We'll see how it goes.
Though. Like, it's
unless
most
they do.
TVs are fine. I don't know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Unless they die. I mean, you saw Ratings' thing, finding all the TVs that were burning out at the bottom. Maybe we'll run them. We'll run them not too bright. Actually, Dan, can you make a note for the team to set them pretty dim?
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably an
Thanks,
idea.
Ratings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. What else we got today? We got some merch messages.
Merch massagios.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Smirch messages.
Oh wait, did I say which kitties we're getting?
What?
I don't know. The one with rabies or not?
I think we just assumed it was all of them.
No, we're taking 2. Where are the kitties?
They're gone.
They're in the.
Here we go.
They're in the dock. Yeah.
Okay, so we're taking not this one. One of the orange ones. He's a sweetheart. He's really adventurous. So when we went over there, he like came out and was poking around and coming to see us. And when we pick him up, he's like not shaking or anything, just totally fearless. Quite a character. And then I think we're going to take this guy.
How do you think your currently existing cats are going to react to this?
I mean, Dash is probably going to be a little pissed off.
More? I'm already dealing with too many.
Noodle kind of does his own thing, so I think he might not even notice that much. And then Brownie is just, I mean, he's like, he gives 0 Fs about anything. Like when we introduced the boys to Dash, when we rescued them from the yard, like Dash was all like, doing cat stuff, and he's just like, hello, want to be friends? Or like, are we friends now? Like he just completely oblivious to her signals that she was not interested in being friends.
That's funny.
So yeah, she just doesn't care. Yeah, we're gonna have 5 cats.
That's a lot. Oh my goodness.
And then bringing these guys on as a pair, they'll have each other at the very least, so it should be fine. Litter mates do tend to hang together as they grow up together, like if they stay together. So we would, I wouldn't say never, but we wouldn't prefer to like take one cat at a time if we can avoid it.
That makes sense. Bring a buddy. Merch massage?
Sure. This one's actually for you, Luke. How's Final Fantasy VI coming along?
Yeah, Luke!
You know.
I know, but I want them to...
I played last night. I needed a break, so I jumped on the Vigima game, and it was actually really fun. I did the opera scene, and it was... I was very surprised, because I expected it to not be an actual opera, and then I had to play an opera. When what's his name? Oh, I don't remember his name. But when what's his name is like, you should probably read the thing again before you go up on stage. I was like,
Setzer.
Censor?
Setzer? Oh, did they change the name from the original translation?
No, his name is Setzer, but that's not the person who says this line.
Oh, does he not say? Oh, no, it's Locke.
Yeah,
it's Locke. Locke,
whatever. That was all of that was way too similar. Locke is like, yeah, you need to like read the thing for the play before you go up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I like sort of got it. I don't know. Am I actually supposed to remember this? And then I got like booed off stage because I got it wrong. And I was like, really? Actually? Then I had to go do it again. And I made it the second time, but like, dang. And now
serious business.
Yeah. It takes it seriously and you like have to get it right, but it feels appropriate because the scene is like really good and the song's actually like pretty good and the singing is pretty good and everything's like, wow, this is actually like kind of nice. So I like do want to do it justice. It doesn't even feel tedious. So that was kind of cool. And then, got the airship and we're over on the other place. And then I looked through the town that's there, that's like under occupation and stuff. And then that was about all that I got done and saved it. So I'm out of the like weird everybody lies town. Yeah. That's where I started in that session.
Yeah.
Finished that place, got to the opera, finished the opera. Now I'm in the next place. I have no idea how far into the game I am. I feel like I've played it a ton, but I feel like I'm like probably not that far.
It's a great game.
It's
my favorite Final Fantasy.
Every time I load it up, I have a good time. Every single part of the game has been good. There's been parts that I don't like as much as other parts, but they've all been at least good. It's pretty solid.
I would be interested to hear your take because he's playing the Pixel remaster. Yeah. So the opera scene is completely redone compared to the original SNES version. Oh. So this is what it looks like on the Super Nintendo. I don't need audio for this, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is just gameplay. So blah, blah, blah. It's pretty basic. There's no singing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did a really incredible job of particularly remastering the opera scene because it's such a famous part of this game. It's such a beloved part of this game. I've heard they did a great job. For me, I mean,
it's honestly like this is cool. The Pixel remake one's better.
This will always be the version I played.
Totally. I respect that.
And so, I think it'd be hard for me
Have you seen the Pixel remake version?
I have. It's really cool. Yeah. It would be hard for me to enjoy that as much.
I already said it, but I respect that. I've never played the game before, so like looking at this, I prefer the one that I just did.
I think for you to go back and try to play the original SNES version would be hard.
Probably.
I think it'd be
I don't think it would be that hard. It's not that dramatically different. It's different. But like, I mean, this part, it's like basically the same.
I mean, this is dancing.
Yeah, this is how it looks in the Pixel remaster, though. Other than the clipping through the model, it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
Like they don't try to make it look like not a SNES game, to be honest. They try to stay pretty true to form.
Like, where's the?
It's a fancy SNES game.
Where's the stage parts though? The stage parts look so much better in the Pixel remaster.
The part of you that makes sense because I remember looking and noticing the like 3D-ness of the stage, and my brain was like, "Wow, I can't believe they did this back then." And then I realized that they probably didn't. Like,
dude, this looks night and day.
Oh yeah, it's better, but like I don't know. I don't mind the old SNES graphics, but I prefer this one. This part is probably the most dramatic difference. Not even just because of the torches.
Like this is,
but like
this
the
looks
lighting
great.
and stuff is really nice. And there is actually singing, and it's like really good. But yeah, wait,
there's no singing.
Go to the dancing part.
It's like doo, 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 doo. Like
I mean, that is what she sounds like.
Yeah.
So they actually played pretty. If that's the tone, they've stayed pretty true to form with how it sounds. Go to the dancing part though. Like they didn't like.
Where's he at? Oh no, hold on.
Did they not show the ending? He's skimming on his own computer.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't see any dancing.
It really brings out the feeling from the original one. Yeah, like it doesn't. If I saw both scenes, I wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, it's completely different." It's definitely different. Like, yeah, I don't know.
That looks a little more like dancing than the other one.
Sure, but they're still just sort of like circling around each other and stuff, and then he turns into flowers.
Yeah.
I thought it was a flesh orb. I was very concerned. Of course,
turned into a ball of meat.
Of course, yeah, this wasn't gameplay. This was an art thing, and so I immediately realized that didn't make any sense.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I think I've told you
she murdered him.
No.
My new barometer for how well something holds up is trying to enjoy it through my kids. And so Austin Powers, terrible.
Yep.
They did not enjoy it at all.
Yeah.
Between the just kind of like the crudeness of it, the way that culturally we've like moved on, and how like a lot of the humor is so reliant on 90s pop culture, like just nothing. Whereas like some of my other sort of beloved childhood crappy movies, like, Happy Gilmore, Major Payne, they've held up a lot better. Like I through my preteen son, I can enjoy it, because a lot of enjoying a movie, especially like a bad movie, like a B movie, a lot of it is the crowd, the group, like enjoying it together, right?
For sure.
I don't think he would be able to easily enjoy the original version compared to how gorgeous the remaster looks.
Oh, but if he never sees the remaster? Because like I'm wondering if this is because I just remember and like SNES graphics, or if it's actually fun.
I think that's a big
because I never
part of it.
played it, but I remember and enjoy like RPG Maker and SNES style graphics. I don't mind those.
I'm gonna have to make you play 9 next.
Yeah, sure.
9 is almost so. I don't know if you guys. The background here is he's only ever played Final Fantasy 8.
Yep.
Which is like, oh my god! If
Great game. Squall, dude. Gunblades.
Dude, I made it like
Let's go.
I made it like an hour in, and I was like, "This is garbage. I'm done."
Right at the beginning, dueling his friend.
Yeah, I couldn't even.
That friend becomes a great enemy within the game.
I couldn't even.
Imagine you could shoot bullets out of your sword.
Dude, people were
so sick.
I don't know why, but my Final Fantasy takes are either like, yeah, brother, or like heresy. All I said in a previous video was that Final Fantasy VII was overrated. And someone launched into me,
of course,
with like about how wrong I was. And I was like, right. But you putting it on this pedestal is exactly my point. I didn't say it wasn't revolutionary. I didn't say that it wasn't good.
Next time you write something that long, go outside and stand in the grass for at least 5 minutes and then see if you still feel that way.
I said it was overrated. That's all I said. And it's
Which
reasons.
Like almost certainly is, considering the amount of people that.
Its reasons for being overrated make a lot of sense. It was the first one that was a breakout hit in North America. So that's a big part of it. Another big part of it was that it was for one of the best-selling consoles of all time. A ton of people played. For a ton of people.
PlayStation 1?
For a ton of people, it was their first exposure to the series. So there's your three factors. The nostalgia factor, the fact that it was sold so well because it was for one of the best-selling consoles of all time, and the fact that it was the first one to be a real breakout hit in North America. The 1 and 3 are kind of related. But that's why people are so into it. And so you go back and play it, dude, the plot sucks. You basically just go to the point where, like, we think he might be there or whatever, and then he's not, and then you just like do it again, and then you do it again. You're just like chasing Sephiroth around for 60 hours.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. It's a Mario plot, and it's freaking boring. I'm sorry.
But it was also a great time for that type of plot because it was super emo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And emo culture was huge.
But a big part of the reason that I didn't like it that much was because I had just played 6. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, 7
the writing in 6 is fantastic.
Good. It's really good.
But did it have Blitzball? No. Worst FF.
I did like 10.
He's going to come over here and strangle me.
I did
maybe
like
not.
10. No, I liked 10. But 10 gets a little... That's when things start going off the rails a little bit plot-wise. Like, it's like, I don't know, no spoilers or anything, but like...
Yeah, what is happening in that entire game?
What even? So like...
The whole time.
So you're alive, but then you... What? But the time is... What year is it? Like, it's just, what are you even talking about? I don't know, man.
Up next, merch message number 2 of 15.
Gunblades are objectively cool.
You're just wrong.
They're stupid.
Final Fantasy VIII was great.
You don't need a sword if you have a gun.
It's the worst part of both of them.
It's a revolver. What if you run out of ammo?
But you
Throw
don't.
it.
And why not
Have
just
a
stab
sword
and
as
shoot
well.
someone at the same time?
How do you support it?
In this universe, someone can live through many blows. What if you could just hit them twice?
Get a bigger,
One time with bullet.
larger
one time with
magazine.
Anyway.
Sword.
6 and 9, and then just play Chained Echoes. Like, don't even bother with other Final Fantasy
Do
games.
I wait until 9 gets its own pixel remaster, or is it even...
It's got a PC
9?
version. You know what? There's
As long as it has a PC version, that's honestly...
hold on.
good enough.
Where's that upscale mod? Mod Final Fantasy 9.
How long until we have real-time AI upscales for these games?
The Final Fantasy 9 ups. Yeah, this was recent. August 14th. So a week ago. The Final Fantasy IX upscale mod got a surprise update after 3 years, including a full rework of the backgrounds, 120 FPS, ultra-wide, and more.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I love seeing that.
This fly is going to be the bane of my existence. Okay.
It's been bothering me too.
Yeah, let's have a look here. So where's the... Does anyone have any pre and post...
Play them all?
That-
I don't have that much time.
That looks pretty good for a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is...
PC Gamer! Keep up to date.
Yeah,
with,
thank you.
Blah, blah, blah.
Many visual bug fixes. What else we got here?
Wow!
Dang.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say the PC version with the Moguri mod looks like a pretty strong candidate.
Yeah, why not?
So there's some different, not sprites, but for the characters, there's some kind of different styles that you can use. And what's nice about playing the PC version is it has some quality of life stuff. Like you can just, if you're done grinding a stupid boss, you can just be like, okay, every attack does 9,999 damage. I don't think you would probably prefer to cheese it like that.
But that is a cool feature.
You can also like walk at double speed, which was not available in the original PlayStation 1 version.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
nice.
not having that problem in 6, actually. Things don't really feel that far away.
Well, just equip your sprint shoes and then you're good. Although it is a waste of an item, of a relic slot, which I always found really frustrating. One of my 8 relic slots that I get to carry if I want to not walk at a snail's pace everywhere. Do you use sprint shoes?
I just walk at the snail's pace because I don't want to give up the advantage. But things aren't that far. Like
yeah, I guess.
Travel distance actually hasn't really been that big of a
oh man,
for me.
I mean, Dan, I
At
need a
least
poll.
so far in the game.
I need a poll. Final Fantasy VI, equip sprint shoes or don't? Are they still called sprint shoes in the Pixel remaster? Like, I'm talking old translation.
Part of the problem because I don't...
Because running shoes and sprint shoes are not the same thing.
Oh.
In the original translation, running shoes are perpetual haste, and sprint shoes just make you walk faster on the overworld. So, yeah, Dan's going to work on a poll for the float plane audience. In the meantime, why don't we do a quick merch message here?
Okay, balls up. Hi, LLD. As a main...
Why can't I see this poll? Is it something to do with
the way... Did I do it wrong?
No, I'm sure you did it right. I don't see it. Is there...
I don't see it on mine either. Refresh. I can see it on this one. Refresh the page. It appeared when I refreshed.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll refresh the page. Cool. I see it now. Oh, I wonder if that's a bug, because I don't think that used to be a thing.
It probably
Open a ticket! I mean, sorry, Reflex.
Probably not going to fix it right now.
Cool.
Because the live section of the site that I'm so happy we made needs to receive basically more work than anywhere else, despite it being the thing that we use the least, which is awesome. So sometimes I don't actually want us to just only ever work on features for the live stream.
Nice.
And sometimes we need to work on other things. It's kind of, I know, a little weird.
Leave it alone.
But
that's fine.
Yeah.
Apparently this is very controversial though. 56% say sprint shoes.
There are many games.
44 say barefoot.
There are many games where I have taken disadvantages in order to move faster because it's boring and annoying. I have not had that problem so far in 6 because everything's pretty close. My problem has never been I need to get there quicker because, oh my god, this is taking a long time. It has fairly often been, where the heck am I supposed to go?
Yeah, it's an old game.
Yeah.
There's no
and I don't want to
marker.
Look up guides and stuff.
Yep.
So I'm actually just like, oh, okay, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, but I'm in this village, so I guess I'll just talk to everyone. Like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Which is how I would have played the game, so I'm trying to do it
old school
honestly.
RPG style.
But when I'm doing that, like it's 4 steps to the next person.
Yeah,
like I don't really care. It doesn't feel like travel distance is actually a problem. At least not yet. Maybe it becomes one.
It might affect you a little bit later.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm there yet.
Shrug. I don't know what we're voting on. I just picked barefoot.
Have you played the game more than once?
Oh yeah.
That might also be part of it.
Dude,
I've never seen any of this before.
I've played the World of Balance probably like 10 times, and I've finished the game 2 or 3 times. So like, take that for what it is.
So you're also seeing these areas for like the 10th time.
Yeah, they're still awesome.
Yeah, but I've never seen them. I'm just exploring through it. Like if I go play Morrowind, I'm not taking my time.
Yeah.
40 bottles of skooma and you're right at the end.
Scroll of whatever
I love the
uncapped.
Uncapped maximums in that game.
Oh,
great.
I have a philosophical question for you.
Got it.
What is the right thing to do as someone who has never played Skyrim,
okay,
but who has played Oblivion? If I don't get around, hold on. If I don't get around to doing either of those things until the Skyblivion mod is out. You gotta let me finish the question for the people, Luke.
I'm so confident.
I didn't hear what Luke said anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Okay, so if the Skyblivion mod comes out, which is Oblivion remade in the Skyrim engine, which game should I play? I've played Oblivion back when it came out. I have never played Skyrim. Which game should I play? The completely new game, Skyrim in the Skyrim engine, or the game I've already played in the Skyrim engine?
Skyblivion.
Why?
Because there are changes that have been made, not just aesthetic ones. They're not major, but they have made changes. It's also been a really long time, and I think even just viewing the technical feat that is what they have done by making Skyblivion is going to be enough. It's not just a pixel remaster where they've changed, maybe the opera scene like looks a little bit different and stuff. They've even changed certain items, not to break the game or anything, but they've noticed like, oh, this quest reward is just like, it's not that interesting. So they like made it better.
Okay.
They fixed certain quests. But
I've already played Oblivion essentially.
Yeah, but this is like Oblivion better.
But I've never played Skyrim. And isn't that kind of a cultural, gamer game.
Yeah, like have you played Half-Life 2?
All of the reasons why you said Final Fantasy VII was overrated, all of them apply and probably more to Skyrim.
You think so? You don't think Oblivion was the one that went mainstream? Because I don't know. Like, was Oblivion available on console?
Oh yeah, but Morrowind was.
Okay.
It's id, right? Like it's the same pedigree as id. They've been around forever. Parent company thing going on.
Yeah.
Bethesda is its own thing, but still. What about Skywind? Skywind is not getting as much attention as Skyblivion is. So I don't know if it's going to come out. Like, the reason why we're talking about Skyblivion is because Skyblivion is coming out next year and is getting like next year's not that far away now.
And it's looking real.
Noticed.
It's looking real.
It's looking real good. It's coming out next year, and there's lots of updates coming. It's hitting fast. I actually believe they're going to launch next year. They still need help. If you want to go apply to help volunteer, fantastic. But yeah, I would play that one. I think I know a lot of people really love Skyrim. I think if Skyrim is the first Elder Scrolls game that you play, that's awesome.
Right.
Enjoy it. I'm really happy you had a great time. If you come from Oblivion or Morrowind, I think you're going to be disappointed.
Okay.
I think the thing with Skyrim was, I don't actually think that I know anyone that played like Morrowind and Oblivion that is like, Skyrim's great. Literally anyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Because Skyrim was so popular.
It was, but it was popular with people that have never played those games before.
Yeah, it's like the most.
Oh.
Every single game that they make gets a little bit more cut down and a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah.
And a little less Patrick Stewart. And, you know.
Yeah, I was blown away when I was like.
Yeah, I know, right? Every time. I think what they should do is they should remake Skyrim in the Oblivion engine.
I don't know. The Oblivion engine was pretty janky.
Yeah. All of their engines are pretty janky, but yeah. I'm excited to see what the next one's going to bring. And if that's just Starfield in a forest, then I'm going to be very sad.
Oof. A little less Patrick Stewart getting a 90-page Bible for his character that dies in the tutorial.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yeah. So good.
I don't know if it's ever been corroborated, but I'm going to just believe that forever.
Yeah, me too.
It's just part of who I am now.
Okay, well, fine. I guess it'll be Skyblivion then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Based.
Yeah, good choice. Okay.
It's like, yeah, I even felt that way, and because Dan just kind of echoed this, I felt that way going from Morrowind to Oblivion. Like, this feels cut down. They took a lot of features out, all that kind of stuff. But then I really enjoyed Oblivion because it's a fantastic game. And then I played Skyrim, and I was just like, yeah.
I tried to play Morrowind after playing Oblivion as my first one.
That's gonna be rough.
And I was like, this is needlessly obtuse.
That's going to be really rough.
Yeah.
It's the like...
And it looks like ass.
It sure does.
It looks real bad.
But like the feature cut down to Skyrim is big, and there's really good solid beats with Skyrim. There's parts of it that are fantastic. It's just
and iconic.
It's not as good,
right? It's going to be it's part of the culture now. I think like it's very influential, but I don't know. Yeah, Skyrim. There's just less like role playing opportunities. Like in Morrowind, it was. I don't know, you spend an hour making your character, and then you forget you did it wrong, so you just die as soon as you get off the boat. You can't carry your clothes. Load save game? Oblivion was a happy middle ground, right? Yeah.
I kind of feel that way. Oblivion feels like the most approachable, best version of it, if that makes sense.
It feels the most dated out of the three.
What? Compared to Morrowind?
Yeah. Because Morrowind feels like it was a billion years ago.
Wait. Oh, I see. So
and
you mean
Oblivion feels like,
it wasn't that long ago, but...
That looks like the graphics from 3 years ago, even though it was way longer than that. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like Oblivion to me feels the most dated out of the three of them.
That's an interesting take. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting take.
The bloom was real on Oblivion.
Yeah.
Oh, we got bloom. Let's go. And facial animation.
How much bloom do you want? Yes. I'm just scrolling through screenshots right now. It's just like, look at this shield.
Yeah, I remember that. Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I mean? That looks like it was from a time period.
Yeah, it really does.
Morrowind looked like it was four dudes and made some pixels.
Like, look at the like glowing marble in the background.
Yeah.
Look how white the tops of that is.
Yeah. That was that was a brutal thing about this game.
One thing that really killed it for me is I really, really liked the like factions and guilds in Morrowind, and that absolutely still felt like a really, really strong part of the game in Oblivion. And then in Skyrim, it was like,
just join all of them.
Yeah, it started kind of falling off a little bit. They didn't seem as interesting. The storylines didn't seem that great. Like the Dark Brotherhood storyline in Oblivion is like one of the best in a video game ever. And then you do the Dark Brotherhood questline in Skyrim, and it's like, yeah.
I did the mage one, and it was like, oh, you went on an adventure. Now you're king of the mages. Yeah. Also, you're in the Dark Brotherhood and the Thieves Guild and all the rest of them, and there's no problems, whatever. You're just fine.
Yeah.
Go run around.
And then you see the natural progression of that in Starfield, and it's just like, none of it matters. You'll be done the entire quest chain for this group of people in like 4 quests, and then
Starfield,
it will never affect anything ever again. So
I got that in Skyrim after like 20, 30 hours. And then in Starfield, it was hour 4. I was like, oh, I know what this game is.
Yeah, see, like, that's one of the reasons why I like Oblivion a lot, despite being a mainline Morrowind fanboy, because you never feel that in Morrowind. You also never feel that in Oblivion. And then, like you said, 30 hours-ish in Skyrim, you start to feel that. And then, Starfield is just...
Yeah, you get through, like, one of the quest lines for a guild, and you start another one, and it's just... Yeah. It's over now.
Yeah.
Shall we do a second merch message?
What about second merch message?
I do have to be home for 9 tonight. So I need to
guy.
go pretty soon. So let's try to power through some of these.
What a guy.
Oh, Geek Dokie.
The birds minutes.
Oh. Hi, LLD. As a mainframe software engineer, I sometimes...
Storage engineer.
Sorry. As a mainframe storage engineer, I sometimes am sad that the skills I learn at my job can't be used in a hobby. Proprietary IMB Zs...
No, IBM.
IMB.
No, I know, but they mean IBM.
They mean IBM.
Okay,
IBM
I figured. IBM Z software and code mostly. Have you had similar situations? Making me second guess myself here.
I don't know.
More into management, and that's honestly kind of helpful all over the place.
Yeah. It's amazing how similar managing employees is to raising kids. So I guess a lot of the skills that I work on at work are also good at home. I mean, it's just people. It's people interaction. I don't mean that in like a condescending way. I just mean that it's people interaction. So yeah, no, not really. And I mean, I kind of turned my hobby into a job. So I think, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But also good for you if it was positive. TLDR. No. What's that copy pasta?
TLDR. That's too long. I didn't read it, but I'm sorry that happened to you, or congrats.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's better written.
I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you though. Or sorry that happened. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Okay. Howdy, LLD. Linus, how is your G915 holding up? I feel like my keys have gotten loose and the stabilization isn't great anymore. Curious if it's just me or not.
It's fine, other than some of my LEDs died. I don't use it that much though, so yeah. I still like it, but I only have one still on my main gaming rig at home, which I don't use as much as like my work computer.
Hi, Linus. What's the most annoying tech with your pool?
Oh my God, all of it.
Yeah, here. I've worked on swimming pools since the days of time clock, and the touchscreen automation has been awful as a tech.
Everything's awful. The fact that they want everything to talk to each other, but the fact that they don't, and just like how, like it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but like how any of this stuff isn't just completely automated at this point. Like, do you know how the salt cell chlorination works? You just set it to a percentage duty cycle, and then the next day you go and test the water and be like, is that the right amount of chlorine in it? Like, there's no, like, I would think you could just put chemicals in a hopper and it would just like test it on its own and adjust it on its own. Like because it's not like you don't still have to use the chemicals
New company, dude.
Test the pool anyway.
What are we going to do after? What is the infrastructure team going to do after Smash Champs Open?
I have built a building for you every single year that I have worked here. So what's next year?
Yeah, we need
I've nearly been here 3 years. This is my third building.
That's up to Taryn.
The automatic chlorinator machine company.
That's up to Taryn. So yeah. Anyway, it's really frustrating, and it's just like the stupidest stuff. Like, these are, as far as I can tell, reasonably sizable companies, but when you turn off the lights in the pool, the LED lights in the pool, you can hear it. You can hear the relays going ka-chink, 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 ka-chink. It actually cycles through. It's just programmed to cycle through all the fixed modes instead of just having power off as a thing that it can jump to directly. It's just.
All right, I'm going home and starting a pool company. This is ridiculous.
No, I'm serious. You could kill it. You could kill it.
I think I would. The stuff that we have to deal with is insane. It costs so much. We got a UV sterilizer for $60 broken off of Craigslist. They're like $3,000.
Exactly.
It's a UV light bulb in a tube.
Exactly.
We need to do manufacturing here as well, because it has to be another building.
It's all just PVC pipe.
I'm just saying.
And light bulbs.
It has to be another building.
Yeah, like how expensive that stuff is. Like, that's a valve. That's a servo and a molded plastic. What do you mean they have an expected lifespan of 2 to 4 years?
Yeah.
What are you even talking about?
Or are they dealing with chlorinated water?
Yeah, but that's not the part, like, they just... Still.
What are they doing? Chemical plants?
They make it out of something else.
No, I'm just saying, like, they're probably doing things that will be eaten by chlorinated water, knowing that you'll have to replace it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if it was like a...
I'm starting a pool automation.
Avon Fox says, I work with industrial automation for freight, and it's all the same issues. Yeah,
I'm sure.
I believe you.
Absolutely.
I'm going to invent a 15th standard.
Nice. Good.
Actually, no, CAN bus. I'm doing it with CAN bus.
All right.
We got to keep these going.
Oh, yeah, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Saving up for a backpack. Question for Linus. Did Inovelli, can't spell, ever make you those light switches, or did GE make it right? Also,
the light switches, I think we're getting an alpha or beta version imminently.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to try out millimeter wave.
If they're like actually good. No, I still won't think about it.
Cool.
My house is very IoT free, and I'm pretty down with it.
It's honestly not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I like my IoT garage door openers. That I don't think I could ever go back to not having.
I could see that. Yep. Spooky, but yep.
I like my like smart lights in the kids' bedroom. We like playing with the colors.
Very basic smart light stuff going on. That is good, because we have like lights that turn red at a certain point at night. That's good.
UK fan, first time watching live. You discussed risk when licensing your brand. If that wasn't a concern, what products besides cereal would Linus and Luke be keen to collab with on another brand?
Automatic pool chlorinators.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. So many of the things that I would want to do is just because, like, I need a good one.
Yeah.
And they all suck.
Yep. Luckily, there's a lot of options in that category.
Yeah, like there's the obvious PC stuff. Like, I'd love to do a case or something like that. But at this point, I don't really have a ton of ideas that I don't see someone else doing a good enough job of. So, I mean, I've talked about this before. I've wanted to make like a really premium water pistol for a long time. Like there's just, I don't know, there's stupid stuff. But for the most part, I don't, I was talking to someone the other night, and they were telling me about all their like expensive toys that they have. You know, like they've got some of those like 3-wheel, almost motorcycle, but it's like 2 wheels in the front. They have like 2 of them, and then they have like all these like dune buggy things up at their property in the interior. And like he's telling me about all his cars and motorcycles, and I'm just like, I don't know. I can only
cool, man.
I can only ride one motorcycle at once personally.
Yeah.
And like, to be clear, like that's cool. You know,
do whatever you want.
I'm with your wife. At least it's that and not women. You know, that you're spending your money on.
True.
No, that was his joke, not mine. Like, I'm just repeating it.
He said, "I'm with your wife."
No. He said.
Why would you think that, Linus?
He said my wife isn't upset about it because at least I'm just buying stupid mechanical toys. I'm not spending it on women.
Right.
And I'm like, fair enough. So I'm saying I'm with his. Oh, just.
Wouldn't she like?
I'm saying I support his wife's position.
Oh, you do.
In what way exactly?
Enough. Next merch message.
Okay. Luke, we just added a 4th bird to our flock. Woo. Do you have any plans to get more?
No.
Beat him to the punch.
What kind would you get? None.
Dinner. Chickens.
No. Well, that's true, actually. No, they're so expensive, and they take actually a lot of time. I'm not willing to get bigger birds because then their poop is a huge problem. Budgie poop is surprisingly convenient. It's just these little pellets and it dries really quickly, so it's very easy to clean. Larger bird poop is slimy and large and not easy to clean, and that is a huge gap to span, and one I am not willing to do unless I would have like a huge aviary that they could fly around in, which is not gonna happen. So like, no.
Yeah, dude, it would have to be like in this climate, you'd have to have it heated and everything, and like
because they especially maybe some other birds are better with it. Budgies do not do well with cold.
Well, no, the thing is, I don't know if you know this, but you're not allowed to keep native species as a pet. So it's, you literally couldn't have like a robin.
So any of the birds are going to be good in the cold. Can't have. Yeah. So these little Australian birds that are used to super high heat, they have to live up here, so they have to be heated all the time.
Yeah.
And then it needs to be big enough that they could fly around and entertain themselves.
Oh, well, W. Calderini has a good point. That's only if you want the birds to live.
Oh my goodness.
Otherwise, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah, honestly, it sucks because they're very highly intelligent animals, but they get sold next to things like hamsters.
Yeah.
So people just treat them like throwaway pets.
Yep.
And it's like, man,
you could just take a pigeon though. They're free. And a door duck.
I was going to say what you could do is you could get one of those nice smart birds and then just like plop it down in front of Twitch for a couple days.
Oh yeah.
Then it would be much more.
Who would be teaching who?
I have kind of thought before that I could probably just Twitch stream the birds and it would be a decently successful stream.
Yeah, probably. Burb?
Pirate Software does it, right? Doesn't he? It's like a ferret stream or something.
I think so.
Doesn't surprise me.
I think he does. Ferret Software. Let's see. There's 1,000 people watching it right now.
Ferrets are characters. If I didn't have cats, I'd have ferrets.
But it's 1,000 people watching them sleep. It's a black and white. Look, it's a black and white scene of them just being asleep, and they know we're here. Okay.
Maybe we should we raid them on Twitch?
No. Who cares? Does anyone even like?
I don't think so.
I didn't even look.
I don't know if that's still.
I haven't even looked at our Twitch dashboard today.
I don't even think we're allowed to.
Like, is this a? Are people watching on Twitch?
Why does it look so weird?
Oh, I'm not in the dashboard.
Twitch. Oh, you're not technically even watching it. This is like a preview. Oh. I never use Twitch.
We have 2,100.
Wow,
dude. So his stream of his sleeping parrots that are doing nothing is
half as popular.
Exactly half as popular as the whole WAN show.
Wow.
What's the term? Skibbity brain rot, Ohio? Like I
don't know.
That ferret's got their rears.
Oh, one of them's moving! He's running across the screen!
And now he's hooked.
He's running. He's so cute.
Yeah.
I am now a ferret watcher.
All right.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Let's do another one.
If you're getting more birds.
No.
Okay, cool.
Having worked on Cyberpunk, it feels good to see it being used for benchmarks. What criteria do you use to decide which games are used for benchmarking?
I will say that a lot of our criteria has not been necessarily the criteria I might have used if I was kept in the loop on it. What I will also say is that the criteria we should be using and the criteria we'll be using going forward is that we're looking for games that are benchmarkable so that so we can get repeatable runs out of them. We're looking for games that are a mix of CPU dependent and GPU dependent games. We want to have a mix of popular games, even if they're older, and newer games that take advantage of the newest features and therefore could be indicative of future game performance. Could be. That's a big asterisk. And we are looking for games that basically all of that boils down to we're looking for games that will help us separate the best performers from the worst performers. And it is some combination of relevance to the player base, feature support, and demandingness, the strain that it puts on various parts of your system.
Loans, Lug, and Dan, how good is a chaotic role like Dan's for career development? Right now, I'm able to choose between doing interesting stuff without any focus or a stable, narrow job at the same company.
I don't know.
I was going to leave that to you guys who employ me and dictate my career rather than me who does the things and the stuff.
I don't really think of myself as dictating anyone's career. I think people make themselves valuable to a company and are therefore valuable, or they don't so much, and they discover that they aren't.
I know there's a balance.
Yeah. I think sometimes it...
Don't become indispensable.
It can somewhat depend on who you're going to have to go to if you need advancement within the company or whatever, because some people can treat that very negatively, where like, oh, you're used for a bunch of different things, and if I promote you, I'm going to have to replace you in all these different realms. Therefore, I'm going to halt your career progression because you've been helpful.
That's super toxic.
It happens, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's also like a lot of it comes down to what is the like culture of your workspace and who are you actually working for, because that's going to affect this a lot. And if you don't think you're going to stay at the place that you're at, I think it could be a risky strategy, because trying to describe what the heck you've been doing for a while to a prospective employer is going to be a lot worse than just being able to write it down in one line because you had a very easy to understand
Here's my job title.
Yeah, this is what I did. Here's my job title.
There's all kinds of different advice that could be good for different situations. Like the way that I made my way through the ranks at NCIX so quickly was by doing the job that I wanted to do. So I was always spending my time doing whatever I aspired for my new position to be. And we had a really loose management structure that allowed that, but that's not necessarily true at every role. So that's really tough. You know, other sort of generally good advice is, you know, get your boss a promotion.
And then take his spot. And
then a lot of the time, like playing that game politically, they'll take you with them.
Oh, yeah.
Make the other people around you look really good.
The taking them with them thing is interesting, because I've observed this a few times actually, where like someone gets a promotion or even sometimes
moves positions entirely to a different company.
And then they're like, well, I really like working with this particular person.
Yep.
I'm sure a lot of skills in the workplace are quite transferable. So I'm sure they can learn this new role. And instead of like trying to fish through hiring, which is honestly a nightmare, I can just bring this person on that I know is going to do well. It's like,
yeah. A lot of people are saying like times have changed, and you know what? The times had already changed. I mean, realistically, millennials did not get a great ride in the workplace. I got kind of lucky / I did the right things, some combination of the two. And yeah, Top Gear 1224's advice: move jobs is a really important thing if you wanna optimize your career path. But it sort of relies on being able to sell yourself to a degree, right? That's part of the whole process of reapplying for a new job. Is you have to be able to Luke's point, communicate effectively what exactly it was that you were doing and why it was so important and why it will be a benefit to the new company. So they should pay you ideally more, right? It's tough. Every situation is so different.
Yeah. Sorry. A lot of it just depends on what your situation is, yeah.
Hey, LLD,
Meanwhile, Dan's sitting here going, well, I have no idea what to do with any of that.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. I can't get Luke promoted. I mean, what's above sea level?
I have 2 of those.
Sea level at a bigger company.
He's already got 2 companies. I don't think he needs more.
I don't want more, dude.
What about third company?
Oh, goodness.
CTO of Smash Champs?
Oh. I basically am, actually.
Ah, crap, you are.
Nice.
Hey, LLD, I recently started a new job as a SWE. I don't actually know what SWE stands for.
Software engineer? SWE?
Software is one word.
Yeah, I would assume software engineer.
Yeah, me too. In the US, my company recently brought in an Amazon executive who stack rank aggressively and turned 15% of the teams every 6 months. How common is this in the industry?
I mean, we've talked about it a bunch of times. Layoffs.fyi, or is it just layoff? Layoffs.fyi?
I'm still sticking with sweet.
Yeah, layoffs.fyi is an interesting site to poke through every once in a while.
Oh yeah, GM had a big one recently.
Yeah, and like
laid off a bunch of software people.
This thing where you bring in a leader from a company that knows how to fire huge amounts of people, and then you just use them to cleave your company down for stock value or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Has been a thing as well for a long time. It's more talked about now, and a lot of really big layoffs have happened over the last little bit. But like this type of activity has happened for a long time. Yeah, layoffs and stack wrecking firings are different. Sure, whatever. Ignore the terminology. Firing a bunch of people is what I meant.
Hey, DLL.DLL. I recently picked up a wearable subwoofer called the Baselet. You did a video about it 7 years ago. Do you remember anything about it? It was my first LTT video.
Baselet?
Yeah, it was a piece of shit.
Wearable subwoofer?
Yeah, it basically vibrated on your wrist, and it was supposed to create the effect of like very deep bass or something like that.
Yikes. I found the Kickstarter.
Yeah, where's our video on it?
Some of our old videos are very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Did they know what a subwoofer is?
Here we go.
I like that. Yeah, that's more like it.
What's up?
Oh, I've been meaning to ask James if he knows they're using him for this.
Become a member to this channel.
We used to do a lot of really fun, like, skitty type stuff.
Join now.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, you plug the thing in or something, and it's like, I don't know.
There's no way that would ever be good.
Yeah, no, it's dumb.
Less stupid than it sounds.
I want one now.
It's silent. The full power of music in high definition. Anywhere you go, the power of the baselet. Watch size subwoofer delivers bass right into your body. Yeah, so basically it's, it was pretty dumb, I think. Why is this the most replayed moment? Okay.
That's why.
No.
Very cool.
It's funny, like, dude, every time someone's like, yeah, I'm not that into LTT anymore because they've, like, become all about, like,
I can't believe they do potty humor now.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't do that.
Yeah.
Literally forever.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
Next one.
Afternoon, good sirs. How do you both manage the fact that you're the bosses, but also want to get your hands dirty? Luke, we need to see you in more videos. Scrapyard Wars has scratched an itch.
I want to do more. I mean, that's why I'm bringing in more people to help with administrative stuff. It's still not helping much because I'm just doing, we were so under adminned that, like, I think we've had a lot of challenges
still are
to overcome as a company as we've grown. I mean, a lot of businesses fail as they make the transition that we're making right now. We have a lot of processes to continue to build. It's always a journey. It's not a destination. I do want to get my hands dirty more, but it hasn't been possible as I've ended up just sort of plugging more gaps that we just didn't have any coverage on before. I think we're a better organization than we were, but I think it's clear we need to add a little bit more structure even now. And I think there's things that we can do to make the whole thing run more cleanly and require less constant interference from management, because I don't think anyone's happy about that. I don't think management wants to be constantly stepping in on things, and I don't think people like management constantly coming in and, you know, nitpicking at things. So hopefully someday my job will be to like just play with this stuff again, because that's really what I'd like to get back to.
Any plans for LTT Jeans?
Nope. Jeans are hard.
Greetings, Dan, Linus, and Luke. Linus, are you reconsidering swearing by distilled water after the leak? I've used 80s Volkswagen coolant for years and has corrosion inhibitors for copper.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to give up on some performance and throw a bunch of antifreeze in that loop. And we're still going to do the like grounding thing, whatever. We're going to try and make it not electrolytically corrode or whatever was going on in there, but I think I'm just going to throw some anti-corrosives in as well.
Hey Linus, I've been playing badminton non-competitively for about 3 years now. Any tips for people trying to step up their game? And what's your personal racket shuttle recommendations?
Shoes, you should play in whatever is the most comfortable for you. Here, hold on a second. Rackets, same thing. You shouldn't spend a ton on a racket until you are an extremely high level player. Realistically, you are way better off with like an entry level, as long as it's a one-piece graphite, like carbon racket. Like, don't get one of those ones with the T joint with like made out of aluminum or steel or whatever. Like, get a proper carbon racket. But beyond that, I would say get fresh strings and get a good quality grip. That's way more important than the racket for a novice level player. As for how to get better, this is a great channel. Badminton Insight. These two have just outstanding on camera personalities, really good tips. They are current professional level players, if I recall correctly. And there's just so many, insights about badminton in their content. They also do some really fun stuff. They did one recently where they played against this 8-year-old and 10-year-old that are absolutely incredible little girls players that are ripping it up in the UK right now, winning some U17 tournaments and stuff like that. See if I can find it. Doesn't matter anyway. They've got a lot of really great tips and a lot of stuff that you can practice at home on your own. You don't even need a court for. So check those guys out. They're doing a great job.
And last, what's right?
I'd be so down.
Really?
Do a collab.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. The last one I've got for you is the Lux screwdriver still coming?
Someday. It just hasn't really felt like the right time to do a $300 screwdriver or whatever it's going to cost once we're machining every piece of it out of solid metal.
Apple leather. You should do an apple leather.
Potentially like exotic metals. Like it's felt like a product for a more prosperous time. And a lot of our audience has been suffering in a big way. Like a lot of our audience comes from game dev, comes from IT, comes from like the cloud, comes from these companies that are just announcing layoffs after layoffs. So one of the main reasons we haven't moved forward with the Lux screwdriver is that we felt that it would just seem a little tone deaf. Like we're not going to start building low quality products. We're going to unapologetically make high quality products that cost what they cost. But the Lux screwdriver feels like such a 0.1% item that we're kind of thinking we're just going to leave it alone for a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll still do it someday, I'm sure, because it's really cool. But not immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess that's, speaking of immediately, it's immediately time to end the show.
Oh, perfect.
We'll see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Bye!
I'm so sore. Feeling plus tetanus shot. so sore. We really need to make sure that we have